In Shanghai City, a gentle mother cared for her newborn and fed him with soft words, feeling all her sleepless nights were worth it as long as he grew healthy. Lin Zichen realized he had transmigrated into a newborn with a not fully developed brain and saw a strange screen showing his name, age, and empty attributes. He understood he had a special system and felt both relieved and excited. By 3 months, his parents noticed he was calm, rarely cried, and behaved unusually well. His father thought he might have natural talent to become a gene fuser or a cyborg. Lin Zichen completed his first system task at that age and slowly felt his strength grow, though he was confused by strange terms his father mentioned. By 4 months, he learned to sit and crawl but trained quietly at night to avoid frightening his parents. At 5 months, with his system's help, he learned to walk earlier than normal. By 6 months, he began sitting and crawling openly in front of his parents. Around that time, news appeared about beasts and how gene fusers and cyborgs fought them. Lin Zichen realized this world was dangerous and different from Earth, so he decided to grow carefully in secret. A woman named Su Meng moved next door with her husband and daughter, introducing themselves and giving a small gift. Lin Zichen noticed that Qinghan would be his first friend in this world. By 7 months, he mastered running, jumping, and basic speech with his system's help. By 8 months, he practiced sit-ups and push-ups secretly. One day, his mother saw him exercising and thought she was hallucinating from writing too many web novels. Lin Zichen managed to bluff his way out and decided to be more careful next time. A few days later, while giving him a bath, his mother discovered that Lin Zichen already had visible abs and called his father urgently. His father was shocked and amazed, thinking his son had limitless potential and would likely become a gene fuser or, at worst, a cyborg. Lin Zichen realized he had almost been exposed for using cheats, but his parents, both web novelists, assumed he was a genius, which worked in his favor. He also knew he was not the only extraordinary child on this mutated Earth, as news reported a prodigy boy from Kyoto's martial family who had divine strength at age 2 and could lift a 20-kilogram dumbbell. His mother often praised him, saying he was amazing and would not lose to any prodigy family in the future. Lin Zichen wondered if he could lift 20 kilograms by age 2, and with the system's help, he found he could do it effortlessly. When he was called outside, he saw Qinghan holding an egg tart, which he politely refused. They did not play normally due to their mental differences, but they liked staying near each other, and he sometimes used her as a convenient training weight. By age 3, he could lift 40 kilograms with one hand and realized he was stronger than other children his age when he saw news of Kyoto's prodigy lifting 30 kilograms at 4.5. Despite this, his biological level was still ordinary stage 1, which made him curious about stage 2 and whether it was beyond human. With that thought, he ventured outside for the first time and saw beasts like men and half-robots, likely gene fusers and cyborgs. His first stop was the library, since his parents limited his use of electronics, and he wanted to find answers in books. At the library, Lin Zichen ignored his mother and Qinghan calling and refused the cookie she offered, focusing on reading instead. Through the books, he learned more about the mutated world and discovered that all life was divided into 6 biological levels: ordinary, advanced, rare, epic, legendary, and mythical, each with 9 stages. Ordinary humans were only stage 1 and were almost as weak as ants compared to higher-level beings. He realized he needed to secretly speed up his growth to survive. The system gave him a new task to train both his body and mind. By 4 years old, he continued reading and training without slacking. After starting kindergarten, he reached ordinary stage 2, could lift 80 kilograms with one hand, jump vertically 1.2 meters, and run 100 meters in under 11 seconds. He believed strength came with responsibility, and when Qinghan was bullied, he stepped in and scared the other children, making sure no one bothered her again. This action triggered a new mission while he was still working on the previous one, showing that missions could run at the same time. Half a year later, he completed the reading task and obtained the Heavenly Root of Wisdom, which maximized his learning ability. Time passed quickly, and by nearly 7 years old, he graduated from kindergarten. Before elementary school, he pushed his limits further, jumping over 2 meters and running 100 meters in under 8 seconds. With the Heavenly Root of Wisdom, he also finished most of the elementary school curriculum on his own and aimed to earn the elementary school tyrant title. At Sunshine Elementary School in Shanghai City, academic competitions were easy for him since he had already studied middle and high school material. Teacher praise and trophies meant little because his true goal was the title. He tutored Qinghan in his free time, and she worked hard, ranking second in class while he stayed first. To improve further, he joined every sports event and broke all the school records. Just when he thought his school life would continue smoothly, a special transfer student appeared in class, and he sensed a faint aura from her that did not belong to humans. Bai Shui entered the classroom quietly, her white hair standing out like winter snow and catching Qing Han's admiration, but Lin Zichen stayed focused on her strange presence. He sensed an aura around her that did not feel human, and wondered if she was a gene fuser or a descendant of one. 4 days she never spoke, only lying on her desk and rarely going to the bathroom. At first the class was curious about her, but their interest faded after a while. More than a month later, the calm broke when Bai Shui's body secreted a white liquid with a foul smell, and the students mocked her cruelly. One boy poured water on her, pretending to help while humiliating her. Bai Shui clenched her fists and cried, which confused Zichen because he had thought of her as something strange rather than someone who could feel pain. Seeing her cry made him hesitate, and Qi Han said she looked pitiful and asked if they could help. Zichen nodded and stepped forward, realizing that she was just a weak girl being bullied. He grabbed the boy by the shoulder and told him to clean Bai Shui's desk. The boy, scared of Zichen's strength and reputation, immediately obeyed. Lin Zichen then made everyone who had bullied Bai Shui step forward and apologize. The students quickly admitted their mistakes and promised never to bully her again. Bai Shui looked at Zichen and Qi Han with trembling emotion and thanked them repeatedly. Qi Han brushed it off, saying it was natural for classmates to help each other. From that day on, Qi Han actively approached Bai Shui and often dragged Zichen along, determined to become her friend. She shared her food with Bai Shui and treated her with warmth and care. One day, Bai Shui asked if they found her disgusting because of her bad smell and explained that people had always pushed her away since childhood. She said having someone by her side felt unreal, like a dream she was afraid would end. Qi Han denied it was a dream and promised that she would never despise her and that they would always be best friends as long as Bai Shui wished. Overwhelmed, Bai Shui hugged Qi Han and thanked her sincerely. She then decided to give something back for their friendship and offered the fangs her mother had given her as a birthday gift, hoping they would not dislike them. Qi Han believed their bond would last forever. However, soon after, Bai Shui transferred schools. Zichen confirmed he had seen the withdrawal paperwork. Bai Shui politely thanked the professor and apologized, and the professor confirmed her withdrawal was complete and that her records were confidential. Lin Zichen realized that Bai Shui's identity was far from simple, and they never saw her again. She became a fleeting memory from their childhood, but what followed caught his attention even more. That night at home, he massaged his mother's shoulders and asked if the pressure was right. She happily praised him, saying she felt much better after a long day of writing novels. While the television played, news reported a 10-year-old prodigy from Kyoto who had fused with beast genes and lifted a 1,000-pound boulder with one hand. Zichen was stunned to realize the boy had begun gene fusion. His father complained that the prodigy appeared on television too often but admitted that coming from an ancient martial family likely gave access to advanced gene fusion techniques. His mother worried about using a child as a test subject. Zichen compared the numbers and noted that before gene fusion the prodigy could lift 100 kilograms, but after fusion reached 500. He realized that even without gene fusion, at 8 years old, he could lift 300 kilograms with one hand, which gave him confidence about his future. That confidence ended when news appeared of a severe beast attack in a neighboring country. A giant mutant rat crushed a woman in its mouth, and Zichen finally understood what it meant to be dominated by fear. The news reported that the mutant rat attack was caused by heretical forces, and Sakura country asked other nations for help to fight them. Zichen understood that the heresy was an anti-human organization made up of traitors who served the beasts for their own gain. He felt lucky to be born in a powerful country with a stable environment that allowed him to grow stronger quietly. Suddenly, he heard loud booming sounds outside and saw many official cyborgs flying through the sky, which made him worried that something serious had happened. The next morning, he urged Qi Han to hurry so they would not be late for school, and she apologized for keeping him waiting. He noticed the necklace around her neck had a beast tooth that glowed, which shocked him. He connected it to Bai Shui's faint non-human aura and thought the tooth might be the source. The glow disappeared quickly, and they did not think much of it, but the memory of the cyborgs and the strange reaction of the tooth left Zichen uneasy. On the way, a woman mistook them for siblings, and Qi Han said they were childhood friends and best friends. The woman admired them and asked about their parents. Zichen quickly grabbed Qi Han's hand, telling her to stop talking and not answer strangers' questions, and she nodded seriously. After school, as they walked through a quiet alley, Jihan felt uneasy, but Zichin explained the area was empty and scheduled for demolition. Suddenly, the same woman from the morning appeared and spoke to someone called Brother Xing, saying she had found the two children. Zichin immediately realized it was the same woman following them, even though he had taken a different route home. She tried to lure them with promises of tasty treats, but a man suddenly appeared, cursing her and rushing toward the children, threatening to knock them out and sell them. Zichin reacted instantly and punched the man, sending him flying into the wall. The woman was shocked that an elementary school student could overpower an adult, but Zichin struck her as well and knocked her down. He noticed there were no cameras and considered ending the threat to avoid future trouble, knowing that if anyone spoke about it, his abilities would be exposed. Before he could act, the ground shook like an earthquake, and a mutant rat appeared, instantly devouring the man and woman. Realizing the danger, Zichin grabbed Jihan as she screamed and told her they had to escape immediately. He ran at full speed, scanning their surroundings, and saw cyborgs arriving at the scene. The cyborgs launched missiles and deployed an anesthetic smoke screen, shaking the ground again as chaos erupted. Zichin watched the battle and decided the female cyborg was not very strong. She had used anesthetic rounds to weaken a mutant rat, and then fought it in close combat for 7 minutes before killing it. He knew mutant rats were tough, growing over 3 meters long, and as strong as a normal 5th level. Zichin felt lucky to have survived the disaster the day before and knew he needed to train harder. Life went on, and he and Jihan celebrated their 9th birthday together. He made a wooden hairpin for her and taught himself new skills overnight using the heavenly root of wisdom. Time passed, and they finished elementary school and started middle school. Zichin wanted to unlock the middle school tyrant title and trained hard every day during vacation. By the day before school started, he reached ordinary 3rd level. His strength grew, allowing him to lift 700 kilograms with one hand, jump 4 meters, and run 100 meters in 6 seconds. He heard news about the Kyoto prodigy on TV, who had fused with Goliath ant genes and could lift a 2,000 kilogram alloy easily. Zichin calculated that Goliath ant genes could increase strength by 4 to 8 times. When middle school started, his top results in elementary school brought invitations from the best schools. He chose Shanghai Middle School so that Jihan could be in the same school and class as him. During registration, the principal and his homeroom teacher welcomed him and encouraged him to bring honor to the school. Zichin soon left, planning to use the excellent sports facilities. He and Jihan began playing badminton, but a group of upperclassmen tried to chase them away, claiming the court was theirs. Jihan stood her ground, saying they had arrived first. Zichin defended her and explained that first come first served applied. One boy mocked the rules, which made Zichin strike the shuttle with terrifying speed. He shattered the boy's racket, scaring the upperclassmen. They bowed, apologized, and left, letting Zichin and Jihan continue their game peacefully. Zichin believed that after the earlier incident no one in middle school would dare to bully them again. He had already learned the entire middle school curriculum, so during classes he read books that interested him. At night, after workouts, he studied new skills online and used the heavenly root of wisdom to slowly learn cooking, photography, driving, swimming, wilderness survival, and other athletic abilities. He won gold, silver, and bronze medals in math, physics, chemistry, and programming, avoiding taking first place in everything to keep a low profile. A semester passed, but the title still did not unlock, and his achievements attracted many fangirls, which he ignored. Apart from tutoring Jihan, he focused on the upcoming sports meet. He entered shot put, high jump, and sprinting to show strength, jumping ability, and speed. Even while holding back, he easily won all 3 events. At that moment, he felt a powerful surge and finally unlocked the middle school tyrant title. After unlocking the new title, Zichin wondered what life source really meant. Jihan hurried to catch up with him, and he borrowed the beast tooth from her necklace to examine it. He realized it was the tooth of a butterfly, but could not find any information online. He understood that he would have to explore on his own to learn more about the creature. He felt relieved that Bai Shui had given him 2 of the teeth earlier. Soon, a strange screen appeared, showing that he had devoured a trace of the abyss giant butterfly life source, and that his atlas progress was only at 2%. Zichin noted that there was very little life source left in the beast's bone, and knew he would need another method to fully unlock it. The next day after school, he increased his training by giving Jihan rides on his bike, both to train himself and to get her to safety if they met mutant rats. Not long after, a teacher named Gua from the school martial arts team approached him. The teacher praised Zichen's sports meet performance as the best in school history and invited him to join the team. He told Zichen that his athletic talent was even greater than his academic ability and encouraged him to learn more about the team before deciding. Zichen quickly realized that teacher Gua spoke so fast he could barely refuse, and before he could respond, the teacher told him the martial arts team base was in room C of the gym and asked him to visit the next day. Zichen then thought about his recent tests and noticed that killing insects like cockroaches and mosquitoes did not trigger the survival of the fittest attribute. He concluded that only powerful beasts had enough life source to be devoured. To test this, he went to a large mall where a supermarket sold beast meat. Most of the meat was prepackaged, but when he saw a butcher cutting fresh meat, he asked Shihan to wait while he touched it. The moment he made contact, he felt a rich life source inside and knew his theory was correct. Shihan was puzzled by his excitement and asked if beast meat felt different. Zichen said it felt only fresher and offered to let her touch it, but she refused. They decided to buy some beast meat to test at home. Shihan was shocked by the price, as even the cheapest ghost shadow squid cost nearly 1,000 yuan for 500 grams. Zichen ignored her concern and bought 1.5 kilos, reassured by his mother who said to get extra for Qinghan's family and promised to transfer the money. On the way home, he tested his idea by touching the squid and instantly triggered a screen showing he had devoured a trace of its life source, with the atlas progress at only 0.1%. Zichen focused on the ghost shadow squid meat and realized that eating 50 grams only unlocked the atlas by 0.1%. He calculated that he would need 50 kilograms to reach full completion, which would cost nearly 100,000 yuan. He thought it was a lot of money but worth it because he wanted the squid's power to dissolve in water. He reminded himself that this was already the cheapest meat he could buy. He decided he needed to find a way to earn money since he could not ask his family. After checking the meat, he found it had not spoiled and felt relieved. While riding, Shihan warned him that there were people ahead. Zichen stopped and apologized for not paying attention. The bike lane was crowded, and they saw a man holding a dagger to a woman's neck. A police captain told the man to drop the weapon and stayed calm, warning Bing not to fire because the criminal was skilled and close to the hostage. Bing suggested using sleeping gas, but the captain rejected the idea, saying it could make the criminal act desperately if he noticed. Zichen quickly bent down, picked up a stone, and threw it at the criminal's hand. The man cried out in pain and dropped his weapon. The police immediately rushed forward and arrested the criminal. Shihan looked at Zichen in shock, realizing he had thrown the stone. Zichen told her they should leave and talk later. As they tried to go, the captain called out to ask if Zichen was the one who threw the stone. Zichen smiled and said it was not him, then ran away with Shihan. The captain was confused about why he refused to admit it, especially with a reward available. Zichen suddenly ran back to the captain and said he was the one who threw the stone, thinking about the reward money. Shihan panicked and called after him. The captain told Zichen to come to the station to give a statement, and promised to help him apply for the reward. They informed their families and parked their bicycles in the park before heading to the police station. Zichen felt excited as he got into the police car, thinking he was about to earn his first income on his new path. Suddenly, a policeman shouted that a heretic was mutating into a mutant rat. The captain ordered all officers to open fire while protecting civilians and reported to headquarters that the mutant rat was likely a heretic fused with Rat King genes and reinforcements were needed. Zichen grabbed Miss Strawberry and Shihan and ran for his life, feeling relieved when the mutant stopped chasing them. As he slowed down, he saw a girl arrive and realized she was a cyborg. She fired her laser cannon and instantly killed the mutant rat. Zichen was amazed by her strength and felt thankful that his bicycle was safe. With the danger gone, Miss Strawberry expressed relief that they had been saved. Zichen suddenly realized that the beast meat he was carrying had spoiled. He understood that absorbing the life source only delayed the spoilage and panicked as he thought of an excuse. He blamed the heretic and said the cyborg's attack had cooked the meat and caused it to spoil. Shihan comforted him and said their safety was the most important thing. Zichen had planned to go home, but at the captain's request, he and Shihan got into the security team's car and went to the station to give a statement. Later, Zichen wondered how much of the Rat King gene he could absorb from the freshly scorched heretic corpse. Suddenly a screen appeared, showing that he had devoured a trace of the giant mutant rat's life essence, and that the guidebook had reached 5%. He was shocked and realized that freshness affected how much life essence could be absorbed. While he was thinking, Bing warned him to sit still. Zichen explained that he had been sitting too long and needed to stretch. He knew Bing was easy to fool, but the security captain was much sharper. At the office, the captain told him his bravery reward had been applied for and asked seriously how a middle school student could hit the heretic's hand so precisely with a rock in poor lighting. Zichen casually said it was because he often trained his right hand. Before more questions came, Jihan announced that Zichen's auntie had arrived to take them home. Zichen realized it was his mother, and asked why she had come when they could go home by themselves. She rushed over anxiously and checked on him, saying he had scared her. Zichen reassured her that he was fine and mentioned the bravery reward. His mother held him tightly and made him promise to hide somewhere safe if danger appeared again, saying she only wanted to see him grow up safely. Zichen promised his mother that he would always protect himself first. Nearby, a policewoman explained that the rat god cult was becoming bolder and had started infiltrating universities. She said they mainly targeted students who could not legally obtain gene fusion qualifications and that the heretic shot that night was a liberal arts student from Guanyan University who had been brainwashed by the cult. Another policewoman said they needed to eliminate every member of the rat god cult, but admitted that only treated the surface and the real solution was to eliminate the rat king. Zichen felt shocked and recalled information he had seen online about the cult. He remembered their main base was in Shanghai City and most members were social outcasts. Their activities had increased this year, and the Rat King was rumored to want to evolve into a higher life form by forcing followers to gather evolution materials. Zichen wondered if the Rat King had developed intelligence and imagined a giant rat, but dismissed it, thinking large rats were not unusual in the south. He then noticed how quiet Qinghan had become and recalled that whenever she got nervous or startled, she would lose control like when she was a child. He thought this reaction might be linked to some unknown potential within her. Later at home, Zichen's mother shouted in shock when she realized the meat was gone. Zichen explained that it had been an emergency, and he could not worry about the meat, saying he must have dropped it. His mother sighed and told him to forget it, saying his safety was the most important thing. Zichen felt relieved that he had fooled her. He warned his father that the area was dangerous, but his father laughed and said he could handle it. Zichen said that even if his father found the meat, it would already be spoiled. His father asked how he knew, and Zichen said he had just guessed. The scene then shifted to the security captain, who was still thinking about how a middle schooler could throw a rock with such power. Suddenly, he saw a mutant rat nearby and was shocked by its size. Before he could react, the mutant rat lunged at him, and he raised his gun to fire. Later in the classroom, Zichen thought quietly about everything that had happened. Compared to the rat man and the powerful female cyborg, he felt very weak. He realized he needed to earn money quickly to progress with the Ghost Shadow Squid unlock. Relying on school competition scholarships would be too slow. He thought about becoming a top student influencer or doing live stream tutoring but rejected the ideas because they were flashy and risky. He understood that in a world with gene fusion users and cyborgs, martial strength mattered more than academics. Martial arts tournament rewards were much higher, which pushed him to take action. Soon, he went to the gymnasium in Building C and greeted Coach Guo respectfully. Zichen asked if joining the martial arts team would let him compete in city tournaments, and if the prizes were high. Coach Guo confirmed the opportunities and explained that each prize could be worth tens of thousands. Zichen decided to join the martial arts team that day. Coach Guo welcomed him and announced to the team that Lin Zichen, the school's sports meet Grand Slam champion, had joined. The team members introduced themselves confidently, and Zichen introduced himself politely, asking for their support. Since Zichen had never trained in martial arts, Coach Guo began by demonstrating basic fist and leg techniques and explained that although they looked simple, they were very difficult and even the fastest learner had taken a week to master them. Zichen began practicing seriously, and soon a screen appeared showing that he had gained heaven-sent martial insight. As he practiced fist techniques, his vitality, hand strength, dexterity, and proficiency increased. Practicing leg techniques also improved his vitality, leg strength, dexterity, and proficiency. Coach Guo was shocked and suspected that Zichen might be a once-in-a-million martial arts prodigy. That night at home, Zichen's mother called him to come get the bowls because dinner was ready. Zichen asked cheerfully what they were having, and his mother said it was the ghost shadow squid he had been dreaming about. The smell filled the air, and Zichen praised it eagerly. His mother told him to eat while it was hot, and after tasting it, Zichen declared it the best food in the world. She told him to eat as much as he wanted since she had bought a full 3 jeans. While eating, a screen appeared showing that he had devoured a trace of the squid's life essence, slightly increasing the guidebook progress. He was surprised and realized that eating it directly also worked, making him regret the trouble he had gone through before. While he was thinking about this, the television reported that a 14-year-old genius girl had fused with an energy core and become the youngest cyborg in history. The report showed her incredible strength, including lifting a heavy SUV with one hand, sprinting at high speed, and jumping very high. Zichen wondered whether gene fusion users or cyborgs were stronger. Soon after, news reported that security captain He Chun-shan had been killed in his office, devoured by a giant mutant rat. Zichen felt a chill and suspected it was one of the rats from the previous night. The fear motivated him to train even harder. After intense training, his physical abilities improved greatly. His 100-meter sprint became much faster, his vertical jump increased, and he could lift nearly 1,000 kilograms with one hand. He also continued his martial arts training to raise his strength for the upcoming tournament. The next morning, Zichen returned to the gym, and Qin Han followed out of curiosity. A girl approached and kindly offered him fresh milk, which he politely declined. Nearby, a boy watched angrily, feeling humiliated and jealous. He believed Zichen had stolen his championship, and now rejected the girl's gift. The boy confronted Zichen and challenged him to a sparring match, saying that if he lost he would never bother Zichen again, but if he won, Zichen would have to drink the milk. At that moment, a screen appeared showing a new achievement mission to eliminate 1,000 opponents in formal competition, with a survival reward. Zichen felt excited and accepted the challenge, agreeing to spar. Senior girls spread the news that Lin Zichen was about to duel a senior boy at the gym, and many rushed over to watch. At the gym, several girls surrounded Zichen, cheering for him and saying they would take photos. The senior boy watched angrily, thinking everyone expected him to win. He wanted to defeat Zichen before he fully matured and show off his own strength. He believed Zichen's talent had grown too fast and felt he had to act now. Zichen calmly said he needed to go home for dinner and asked to finish quickly. The senior boy smirked and agreed. Coach Guo reminded them that friendship was more important than sparring and announced the start. The senior boy said he would be fair and let Zichen take the first 3 moves. Zichen rushed forward and threw a single punch that knocked the senior unconscious. Coach Guo froze in shock, and the surrounding students stared, unable to believe the match ended with one punch. Jihan smiled and celebrated Zichen's victory while the senior girls cheered and praised him. A screen appeared showing that he had defeated a rival, gained affection from the opposite sex, and increased his rival count to 1 out of 1,000. Zichen noted that he still needed to defeat 999 more rivals to unlock the natural selection attribute. He suggested the senior boys could spar with him, but the students quickly made excuses and left. Zhang Kai protested angrily, claiming Zichen had sneak attacked him and promising to crush him next time. Coach Guo told Zhang Kai to accept his loss but wondered if Zichen's punch was luck or true strength. He decided to have Xiao Lizi spar with Zichen. Xiao Lizi nervously agreed and asked for mercy. After 10 minutes, Zichen realized that aside from defeating Zhang Kai, the other seniors did not count toward his progress, showing that he needed to truly defeat opponents for it to matter. Coach Guo praised Zichen, calling him a genius and saying that after just over a month on the martial arts team, he had become their ace. The coach felt confident that Shanghai High School would win first place in the regional martial arts tournament. Zichen realized that the tournament was the perfect chance to defeat many opponents at once and advance his achievement progress. Zhang Kai stepped forward and accepted his loss, speaking humbly, but the other students rushed toward the exit, leaving him frustrated. Zichen reflected on how high school students either focused on martial arts or academics, with the martial arts class being the top choice. Shin Qinghan began training alongside him. Their routine was intense, starting with a 3,000-meter run, followed by an hour of martial arts practice to improve close combat skills. They then did sit-ups and push-ups to build strength and endurance. At the end of each session, Zichen helped Qinghan ease her muscle tension with massages. He knew he could not relax and pushed himself to prepare seriously for the tournament. 1 month later, the day of the martial arts tournament finally arrived. The scene moved to the city gymnasium. Coach Guo frowned and said Shanghai High had bad luck being grouped with Shanghai No. 1 High. Zhang Kai added nervously that their opponents even had a student who could run the 100 meters in under 9 seconds. Zichen calmly stepped forward and asked to go first. Coach Guo agreed and encouraged him. Qing Han cheered him on with all her strength. A boy from the opposing school stepped onto the stage and mocked Zichen for being a first-year middle school student. He said someone so short did not belong in the tournament, and promised to show him the difference in size and power. The duel began and the boy rushed forward to punch, but Zichen dodged and countered with a single punch, sending the boy flying off the stage. The announcer shouted in shock and Qing Han screamed in excitement. The students cheered and joked that Zichen's body must be made of solid muscle. The opposing coach scolded his student for rushing without proper footwork. A screen appeared showing Zichen had defeated a rival, improved his tournament ranking, and raised his total rivals eliminated to 2. Zichen felt satisfied as he realized serious matches boosted his achievement progress. The opposing coach quickly sent the next fighter and ordered him to crush Zichen as fast as possible. When the duel began, Zichen ended the fight quickly with a single punch, throwing his opponent away. People panicked and shouted for the injured student to be sent to the hospital. The audience was confused and many said Zichen was just lucky or that the matches were rigged. The opponent's coach shouted that it was not luck and praised Zichen as a real talent. He sent Gao Fei to fight next and ordered him to focus on defense and not lose. Gao Fei agreed confidently and thought Zichen was not strong, relying only on speed and tricks. He believed that with his speed and combat experience, he could easily win. The audience whispered about Gao Fei's abilities, saying he could run 100 meters in under 9 seconds and that his father was a gene fusion user, giving him above normal strength. Many thought Zichen had little chance of winning and that Shanghai High would dominate once he matured. The duel began and Gao Fei attacked with many punches, but Zichen dodged them all easily. Gao Fei ignored his coach's orders, thinking he did not need defense. Zichen studied Gao Fei's techniques carefully while avoiding every strike. Gao Fei grew frustrated because he could not land a single hit and wanted to know how Zichen was dodging all his attacks. Zichen challenged him to use all his moves, and Gao Fei threw even more punches, thinking Zichen was taunting him. Zichen noticed Gao Fei kept using the same moves and ended the fight with a well-timed kick. The audience cheered in amazement, calling Xiao Chen a beast and praising his 3 easy victories. Zichen realized the next opponents were even weaker and soon defeated all 5 from Shanghai No. 1 High. Over the next 2 days, he single-handedly beat 2 more schools and led Shanghai High to win the 8-school tournament. He understood that he still had to defeat 984 more opponents, and unlocking the natural selection attribute would take years. Coach Gui gave him most of the tournament prize money, 20,000 yuan. With his earnings from other academic competitions, Zichen had about 30,000 yuan saved, but the money did not last long. At home, his mother told him to slow down because more food was coming. Zichen thought about how after devouring 30 gene of ghost shadow squid meat, his codex unlock progress had reached 33%. By the second year of middle school, he had advanced from Tier 3 Ordinary to Tier 4 Ordinary. He could lift 1,090 kilograms with one hand, jump 5.65 meters from a standstill, and run 100 meters in 4.49 seconds. Time passed quickly, and both Zichen and Qi graduated from Shanghai's middle school division. Qi felt sad because it seemed they could not go to the same high school despite her hard work. Zichen realized he had ranked first in both liberal arts and martial arts in the district, while Qi had done well academically but her martial arts score was not enough for Shanghai High's elite class. He told her that the principal of Shanghai High was coming to his house and asked if she would come with him. Qi cried, thinking the principal was just coming to persuade him to stay and that it had nothing to do with her, so she did not understand why she should go. Zichen smiled and said she did not need to worry because his one condition for staying at Shanghai High was that she had to be his desk mate. Zichen spent several hours talking with the principal of Shanghai High at his home. The principal explained everything and hoped he would continue attending Shanghai High. She said that as long as he agreed to stay, he could speak his mind about anything else. Zichen thanked her and asked if Qi could stay in the same class with him. The principal agreed and told them to report to Shanghai High together when school started. Qi thanked the principal happily. After confirming his high school, Zichen looked forward to his final junior high martial arts tournament and helped Shanghai Junior High win the championship easily. With the prize money, he decided to fulfill his earlier wish. He had already reached 80% progress in unlocking the Ghost Shadow Squid Codex, and the meat he bought would be enough to complete it. A screen showed the codex at 80%. Not knowing what might happen when unlocking it, he went to the forest around Shanghai City to be safe. He quickly unlocked the codex by devouring a large amount of the Ghost Shadow Squid's life essence. The codex reached 100%, and he gained the biological attribute called the blessing of liquid affinity. This blessing greatly enhanced his connection with water, allowing him to move freely and vanish in aquatic environments. At first, Zichen felt the blessing of liquid affinity was a little underwhelming. He tested it in a nearby pond and noticed that soaking in water no longer made his skin wrinkle and swimming became much easier because water resistance was reduced. There were no other noticeable effects, but he knew it was fair since the ghost shadow squid was a low-tier mutant beast. He decided that to get stronger biological attributes, he would need higher-grade meat or to hunt wild mutant beasts when he was stronger. With less than a week before school started, his mother and Xinxinghan's family planned a trip together. Zichen suggested going to the beach to better study the blessing. Chihan complained that the seawater was very cold, but Zichen told her she would get used to it if she eased in slowly. A screen appeared showing that swimming increased Zichen's vitality, overall muscle strength, muscle coordination, aquatic affinity, and swimming skill. Chihan asked him to teach her how to swim. Zichen taught her patiently, expecting it to be hard for her because of her average athletic talent. To his surprise, she learned very quickly and said swimming was easy. She discovered she could dive and open her eyes underwater without discomfort, enjoying it. Zichen was shocked at how fast she learned and wondered if her water talent was connected to something special, maybe even a rare cultivation body. They continued diving, and Chihan amazed him further by holding her breath underwater for over 10 minutes. Suddenly Chihan heard a strange sound in the water and became nervous, so they quickly swam out and stood on the ground. Zichen asked why she looked nervous, and she explained that the sound had been so strange it felt creepy. She said it was a female voice in a language she did not recognize that echoed by her ear non-stop and only faded after she surfaced. To help her calm down, Zichen brought her back to the hotel. After that, he searched online but could not find anything like what she described. Since he could not sleep, he went back to training. A screen showed he had done 1,000 weighted sit-ups and gained vitality, abdominal muscle strength, and sit-up mastery points. His biological level advanced to ordinary tier 5. Zichen realized he could now rival adult giant mutant rats, and could eventually tear them apart with his bare hands. After breaking through, he went to the empty beach to test his new stats. He could run 100 meters in 3.64 seconds, jump 6.98 meters vertically, and lift a car weighing about 1,600 kilograms with one hand. His progress from tier 4 was huge. He then began high school. Some senior girls noticed him and said he was handsome, realizing he was on class duty with them. Zichen was surprised that the new classmates already knew who he was. The class duty triggered a new quest, and he became curious about the social animal attribute. Since school was quiet at the start, he visited the supermarket. With the ghost shadow squid unlocked, he decided to choose a new target and saw a savage giant eagle priced at 1,998 per gene, which he decided to pick. Zichen thought about the savage giant eagle and realized it was a slightly higher tier mutant beast than the ghost shadow bird thief. Its vision was about 30 times sharper than a normal human's, making it very powerful. Its predatory skills were excellent, able to catch shadow-like mutant rabbits with ease. Zichen knew its eyesight could greatly improve combat ability, making the savage giant eagle codex worth unlocking. Its meat was cheap, only 1,998 yuan per gene. A screen showed he had devoured a trace of its life essence, and the codex reached 1%. He calculated that one gene of meat raised the codex by 1%, meaning it would cost over 200,000 yuan to fully unlock it. He realized he would need to earn more money in high school tournaments, which had bigger prizes. He planned to unlock the entire codex before his second year. Summer vacation ended, and Zichen began high school at Shanghai High. On the first day, the homeroom teacher and classmates introduced themselves. The martial arts instructor and homeroom teacher was Han Yuanfeng. The mechanical augmentation instructor was Kai Yuanfei, the gene fusion instructor was Lu Diren, and the wilderness survival instructor was Qing Bei. Then the students introduced themselves. Chu Yushi said she liked playing guqin, chess, calligraphy, and painting. Zhong Yijia said he liked anime, cosplay, and sports. Peng Huiguang said he stayed home and played video games. Xin Qihan introduced herself last. She was very nervous with so many people watching. She said her name was Xin Qihan, that she liked drawing, and asked everyone to take care of her. Zichen noticed that his introduction was the shortest in the class. He said his name was Lin Zichen and that he looked forward to working with everyone. Time passed quickly, and after all the introductions, the class bell rang. Chushin asked Jinhan about her entrance exam score. Jinhan said she got 709 and asked Chushin about her score. Chushin said her score was 698 and that her physical test score was only 95, which she thought was bad. Jinhan realized 95 was already very good and admitted her own score of 79 was below the elite cutoff. Chushin tried to guess Jinhan's score. At that moment, Zichen asked Chushin to add him on WeChat, and she happily agreed. Jinhan felt relieved that Zichen had saved her from the awkward conversation. Zichen also asked Yu to add each other on WeChat, and he did. After adding contacts, Zichen created a 4-person group chat, completing another cooperative task. They got to know each other better. Yu was from Nangwon City and came from a family that ran martial arts schools, making him a young master. He ranked 8th in Nangwon City's youth martial arts tournament. Li Chushin's family ran a chain of clothing stores and was very rich. Jihan and Zichen introduced themselves, and the four quickly became inseparable. While chatting, Yu asked who the strongest in their class was, and Chushin guessed it was Zichen because he was the top scorer in the district. Yu laughed and said being top scorer might not be enough because 2 students in the class were personally recruited from Nangwon City. One was Wang Shujie, who sat in the 3rd row by the window and had ranked 3rd in Nangwon's entrance exam with a 100-meter sprint time of 7.98 seconds. The other was Lu Gang, a big guy in the last row with innate brute strength who could lift a 300-kilogram barbell with one hand. Zichen felt relieved because those stats were what he could do in elementary school. Soon the bell rang, and textbooks were distributed. Zichen had already self-studied all 4 core subjects, so he used the free time to train. He knew the rat god cult was still a threat, and wanted to reach Tier 6 to face mutant rats head-on. That afternoon, their first practical class was wilderness survival. Coach Jay asked if anyone knew how to make fire by friction. Yu said it was useless, but 2 students already knew how to do it. One boy had learned it online and in an extracurricular course over the summer. After the Nangwon City students showed off, the rest of the class practiced, and Zichen taught the Dawn Squad some fire-starting tips. The martial arts class became a show-off session for the Nangwon duo. Zichen already knew all the techniques but stayed low-key. Over a month passed, and a teacher announced the progress test with cash rewards. First place got 888 yuan, second 666, and third 333. Zichen thought the first prize was almost enough to buy half a gene of savage giant eagle meat, so everyone worked hard. Later, the gene fusion teacher Lu Diren held a test with the same rewards and difficulty. Many students complained about hard questions, including energy wavelengths of laser cannons and tiny decimal calculations. Jihan had aimed for 90 points but worried she would barely get 60. While students discussed their scores, the Nangwon duo showed off again. Other students said they probably got 95 points, and Yu was frustrated with their humble bragging. The teacher announced the test results, and the class reacted with excitement and jealousy. Shin Chihan passed and smiled with pride while Lin Zichen calmly took first place with full marks again and cared more about the prize money than praise. Yu and the Nangwon duo felt shocked and frustrated after losing their ranks and rewards. In the gene fusion exam, Lin Zichen once again scored full marks while others barely reached excellence, and argued in embarrassment. After lunch, the wilderness survival exam began and the rewards were announced again. Lu Gang swore to redeem his shame, but Lin Zichen dominated rock climbing and tree climbing with overwhelming speed. Shin Chihan fell behind but prepared to recover in swimming. Lu Gang grew more shocked as Lin Zichen crushed every part and finally made fire in under a minute, leaving everyone stunned. Zichen thought the swimming test came last and Shin Chihan suddenly dominated it and crushed the Nangwon duo, leaving them shocked and mentally shaken. After the wilderness exam, Lu Gang and Wang Shujie stayed silent for a long time, but their silence ended after lunch. The teacher then announced a martial arts sparring test and promised prizes for the top 3, which reignited their desire to show off. Lu Gang believed martial arts would decide true strength and swore to take back first place. Before sparring, the class did a physical test as a warm-up. Lin Zichen ranked first in sprinting, strength, and jumping with overwhelming results. Zichen held back on purpose and only slightly surpassed Lu Gang and Wang Shujie. His rivals felt confused and shaken by his growth but soon calmed themselves and believed that even if they lost in physical tests, their combat technique could still win the sparring match. After the tests, everyone moved to the gym ring for sparring. Zichen stepped onto the ring first to finish quickly, but his strong physical results scared others from challenging him. Even the Nangwan duo chose to watch, which made the teacher impatient, and he ordered Lu Wei to fight Zichen. Zichen ended the match instantly with a single punch and continued to defeat opponents one after another at high speed. Lu Gang finally realized Zichen had not gone all out before and felt deep pressure. He challenged Lu Gang confidently but was thrown away after an intense exchange. Lu Gang admitted he had the best body skills in class but still fell short of him. Zichen then openly challenged Lu Gang and used the chance to gain more progress. Lu Gang accepted without fear but was quickly overwhelmed by Zichen's speed. The students pushed Wang Shujie to step up and defend their pride. Wang Shujie silenced them and stepped forward with determination, knowing the fight was unavoidable. Wang Shujie rushed forward and went all out, but Zichen blocked his attack, struck back, and threw him to the ground. Zichen then defeated the rest of the boys in the class one by one. After that, he could only spar with the girls to continue the achievement. Chu Yushi challenged him first but failed to catch him due to his speed. More girls stepped up and Zichen held back while finishing the matches quickly. Even after sparring with everyone, he still felt disappointed about his slow progress. At that moment, Coach Han announced that the class would challenge the strongest second-year regular class in 1 month. Zichen felt refreshed and excited as a new opportunity appeared. After class, Lu Gang admitted he had underestimated Shanghai High and declared Zichen as his rival for the next 3 years. Zichen felt confident that following the plan could let him complete the survival achievement within a year. Wang Shujie declared that this defeat meant nothing and promised to wash away the humiliation before graduation. Zichen ignored them and happily calculated that he earned over 3,000 yuan in 1 day. Their anger grew as they felt ignored and mocked. Zichen planned to use the money to buy beast meat but soon realized it was still far from enough. That night he registered as a web novel author to earn more income and began writing. Soon after, he received a contract invitation from a platform editor and signed it the next day. While checking the site, he noticed breaking news about a giant mutant rat attacking a beast meat storage on the outskirts of the city. The rat was over 5 meters long and killed a cyborg before being destroyed in a self-explosion. Zichen felt uneasy as he wondered how many such monsters were hidden in the city and where they could be hiding. In the Shanghai High gym, Zichen thought about the upcoming sparring with the second-year regular class while Coach Han discussed strategy with the elite students. The coach explained that the opponents would rely on numbers and stamina, so every fight had to end fast. Zichen wanted to go first to gain more battles but was stopped due to sparring customs. Chi-Han stepped forward as the weakest and entered the ring while feeling very nervous. She focused on defense and endured Han Heng's attacks for over 3 minutes to drain her stamina. Both fell in the end and Chi-Han retreated, earning praise for her smart tactics and clear progress. Another girl rushed in carelessly but was quickly defeated and forced to surrender by Han Heng. Han Heng showed her senior strength and confidence after years of training. Seeing this, Chushin stepped forward with determination and prepared to challenge the senior next. Chushin defeated Han Heng and Chi-Han praised her with excitement. Zichen also praised Chi-Han and explained that her effort to wear down the senior made the victory easier. 2 hours later, the opponent coach felt confident after seeing only 4 students left in Class 1. Teacher Han remained calm and focused on the true fighters who were yet to act. He was sent up next and entered the ring full of confidence. He quickly defeated his first opponent and mocked his weakness. Another senior challenged him but was also knocked down with speed and power. The crowd cheered as he defeated several opponents in a row. After taking down 5 people, his stamina dropped and he was finally defeated by the 6th opponent. At that point, Class 1 had only 3 members left while the second-year class still had many fighters. Wang Shujie was then called up and stepped forward to continue the fight. Wang Shujie shocked everyone by defeating 10 opponents in a row. The opponent coach was stunned and did not remember having such a strong student in Class 1. Teacher Han explained that Wang Shujie was a transfer student and reminded him of their meal bet. The opponent coach realized too late that he had been outplayed and that Class 1 still had hidden strength. Teacher Han then sent Zichen onto the stage and told him to treat the match as experience. Zichen confidently promised to win. The final opponent looked down on him and acted arrogant, while the crowd loudly supported Zichen. The opponent even chose to stand still and let Zichen attack first. Zichen struck once and knocked him down instantly. The students erupted in cheers as Zichen won, while the defeated senior sat in disbelief and could not understand what had just happened. The teacher told Coach Han Yuanfeng that Zichen had shocked everyone by knocking down Wang Jinhe with 1 punch and was almost like Wu Tiancheng in his first year. Han Yuanfeng replied that Wu Tiancheng had been far more terrifying and barely human, having scared the school leaders with his strength. Zichen asked who Wu Tianqing was, and Han Yuanfeng explained that he had cleared a top senior class and showed inhuman speed, jumps, and power. Zichen said he felt a little scared but thought the feats were impressive and not far from his own past strength. Later, Han Yuanfeng celebrated with wine and thanked Zichen for defeating the senior ordinary class, earning a free meal from the other teacher. The students cheered for Zichen, praised him, asked about his training, and rushed to get closer to him. Zichen felt uncomfortable with the sudden attention after becoming famous. Hanan stayed the same and quietly kept putting food into his bowl, worried he would not eat while being surrounded. Chihan told Zichen she was going to the restroom, and Zichen thought she had never changed and still had that uncontrollable urge. In the washroom, Chihan overheard two girls mocking her, saying she acted like a servant to Zichen and did not belong in the elite class, believing their gap was too big. Chihan stepped out and firmly denied it, saying she was his childhood sweetheart. Later, Zichen noticed Chihan look down and asked what happened. Chihan confessed that since childhood she could not control her bladder at night and still had to wear a diaper, which made her feel broken and useless. Zichen comforted her and said she was not disabled, but instead had a superpower that had not fully awakened yet, and her strong water affinity was proof of it. Chihan then asked if Zichen also had a superpower, and he nodded and said he did, just like her. Chihan quietly wondered what her superpower would truly become. Zichen said he definitely had a really powerful superpower. Suddenly he told the criminal to put down the brooms because they were exterminating rats for public safety. The man shouted to stop and threatened to fight if his brothers were killed. Chihan asked if he was crazy, and Zichen guessed he might be mentally ill. She said he looked scary, and Zichen said that was how mental patients acted and suggested going home. At Zichen's home, they heard news that a young female teacher had disappeared last week, and it was the fifth young woman missing that month. His mother warned him not to let Hanan go out alone, and Zichen promised to watch over her. At the security station, Bing asked the doctor about the man, who seemed mute despite shouting at the market. Suddenly, the criminal transformed into a giant mutant rat, and Bing called headquarters for a mechanical cyborg to help. A girl shouted that all cyborgs were on missions and support would take 10 minutes to arrive. They were low on ammunition, so she told everyone to get in the car and lure the rat man to the outskirts to buy time. The police rushed forward, shouting to go faster and lure it up the mountain. Suddenly a blast shook the ground. The cyborgs locked on and attacked the mutant rat with small blasts. The rat dug a hole and escaped, showing it had become smarter, but it was badly injured and could still be tracked. At 3 a.m., Zichen thought about writing for over half a month, updating steadily with more than 4,000 words a day, reaching nearly 100,000 words and earning over 10,000. He checked his novel stats and stayed awake, then went to a small alley to test his training. His 100-meter sprint now took 3.43 seconds and his vertical jump reached 7.22 meters. He felt confident that if he kept improving, he could achieve sainthood through his physical body. Suddenly Zichen heard a beast begging for forgiveness, saying it had eaten out of hunger and would offer sacrifices once full. Zichen realized it might be the giant mutant rat from the news that had transformed into a rat man and decided to leave and notify the police. The beast then chased Zichen, shouting that it wanted to eat human flesh. Zichen saw it was too fast to dodge and decided to fight head-on. He hit the beast, making it fall, and thought it looked weak but was surprisingly strong. He threw many stones at it, determined not to give it a chance to fight back, and soon wondered if the beast was finally dead. Zichen touched the beast and realized he could absorb its life essence, but it was only 2%, much less than last time. He wondered if it was because of the amount of Rat King genes the cultists had consumed and decided to leave since morning was near and the place was unsafe. Later, cyborgs arrived and wondered who had killed the rat man. The scene shifted to a man putting a girl into a magic circle and offering her to the Lord Rat God. The Lord Rat complained that one woman was not enough and suggested capturing young men next time. The man agreed and received a piece of meat as a reward. The Lord Rat ate the woman and said ordinary people tasted bad and he wanted nobles instead. Meanwhile, Zichen trained Qinghan at her house to improve her martial arts, correcting her punch angles so she could strike with more force. Qinghan nodded and followed his advice. Zichen corrected Qinghan's stance, telling her to separate her legs and tilt her body slightly. She nodded and followed his instructions, then attacked him with full strength. He praised her punch for its angle and power but corrected her sweeping kick stance, showing her how to separate her legs properly. She kept practicing, sweating and feeling stronger, and suggested training daily. Zichin said 3 times a week was enough because daily training would be too much. She agreed and looked at her phone, noticing a news report. The news said a former cyborg prodigy girl would get free treatment and a Kyoto University genius had successfully fused with the mutant beast gene, becoming the youngest to undergo a second gene fusion. Zichin thought about how dangerous and rare this talent was and wondered if gene fusion was truly the ultimate choice. At home, Zichin thought that after a month of practice he could now write 10,000 words per hour and still have time for training. His father said his novel was doing well and if he kept writing steadily, he could earn around 50,000 yuan in the first month and later even 100,000 yuan a month. Zichin thought that with that income, he could afford to unlock the mutant beast and fierce great eagle codexes. In martial arts class, Zichin dominated the sparring session, earning money and experience points. Chihan still ranked last but had improved, holding her own against Wen Yutong for almost 3 minutes and landing several hits. Han Yuanfeng praised her progress and encouraged her. He then announced that in a month they would challenge the strongest second-year elite class, aiming to defeat everyone except the top 3, and the students confidently agreed. Zichin realized that more than a month had passed since the novel went live. He wanted to buy some fierce great eagle meat, but when the counter women told him about a discount for buying 50 kilograms, he decided to wait until he saved enough money to buy it all at once. The next day at school, Chihan told him about a new stir-fry window at the cafeteria and asked if he wanted to try it. They went early to avoid the long line and Chihan said it was good they came early. While they were eating they heard 2 students arguing about cutting in line. Chihan asked if they should go see, but Zichin said they did not need to get involved because Hiyu was already handling the situation. Hiyu scolded the students and demanded to know what they were doing, but they casually said they were just cutting in line. Hiyu angrily told them to get back in line and felt frustrated that he could not push them away. Chihan noticed him and thought he looked like he was being bullied. Zichin calmly asked the student to stand at the back of the line, but the student mocked him and asked what he could do. Zichin said he would report it, and replied that cutting in line was even more contemptible. After that, the students left. In Shanghai City inside a villa in a wealthy district, a leader said that Sha Chan had died after provoking the security team at the market. Another man said Sha Chan deserved it because he was reckless and always caused trouble. The leader then introduced a newcomer who would take Sha Chan's position and warned everyone that Lord Rat God no longer wanted ordinary people as sacrifices. He said only high and mighty people were acceptable and mistakes must be avoided. Others worried that kidnapping such people was too risky and could cause serious consequences. The leader suggested targeting sons of wealthy but powerless merchants to lower the risk and told the newcomer to first capture a handsome, ordinary young man. He explained that this would be offered as a sacrifice to one of the divine children under Lord Rat God. The man confidently promised to present the most handsome offering in the entire city. Hiyu said he had checked for several days and found out that the students who cut in line that day were from second-year class 3, the strongest elite class they were about to challenge. He was shocked that even elite students had such poor manners. Zichin said that being good at studying did not mean someone had good character and noticed on his phone that another rich second-generation kid had gone missing. He thought this was the 5th case and the kidnappers never asked for ransom, wondering if it was related to the Rat God cult. Later, Zichin thought it was the day first-year class 1 would challenge second-year class 3. Last week the students who cut the line had kept looking at Hiyu, and he had responded quickly. Both classes finished warming up and the sparring began. Shin Chihan went first but got kicked down and said the senior sister from the elite class was too strong, even defensive tactics could not stop her. Zichin thought that not only Shin Chihan but also Li Chuxin and the others were powerless. A slightly stocky, short-haired student finally defeated the senior sister, but another senior sister quickly took control. She defeated 9 people in less than 10 minutes, including 3 male students. Soon, first-year class 1 was reduced to only Zichin, Wang Shujia, Lu Gang, and Hiyu, while second-year class 3 had only lost 5 students, all female, and had not sent a single male onto the stage yet. Teacher Han Yuanfeng felt that the gap in strength was too large and his students had no real chance. He then told Hiyu it was his turn and asked if he could defeat the 6 girls left on the other side. Hiyu confidently agreed and believed that even more senior sisters would not be a problem. Zichin thought that Hiyu lived up to expectations and easily defeated all 6 girls with little effort. After that, a male student stepped onto the stage and provoked Hiyu. Hiyu mocked him for his poor manners and lack of awareness, thinking this was the first male from their class and likely a weak opponent, making it a perfect chance for revenge. However, the boy attacked first with a fast punch that sent Hiyu backward. Hiyu realized the punch was quick and strong. The boy mocked him and told him to admit defeat, but Hiyu fought back and struck him. The boy countered with a kick and knocked Hiyu to the ground. Hiyu then realized the opponent was not weak at all and had deliberately stepped out to take revenge, admitting he had underestimated him. The boy then turned to Zichin and provoked him, challenging him to step onto the stage if he dared. Zichin stepped forward and felt relieved that his chance had finally come. The students cheered loudly and urged him to humiliate the opponent and avenge Hiyu. The boy rushed into attack, but Zichin calmly blocked the kick, grabbed his head, and slammed him to the ground before throwing him aside, ending the fight instantly. The students were shocked and could not believe that Hiyu, one of the top 5 in the class, was defeated so quickly. Teacher Han Yafeng realized that Lin Zichin had been hiding a lot of strength, while Wang Shujia wondered if Zichin was even human. Zichin then calmly asked who would go up next. Half an hour later, Zichin had defeated all 29 remaining students of second-year Class 3 by himself. He noticed that his primal dominance progress had only increased a little and felt it was far too slow. He realized that his turn always came last during class sparring and decided that could not continue. Since his strength had already surpassed the high school level, he decided he no longer needed to follow high school rules and would make his own rules from now on. On Monday at the principal's office, the principal was shocked when Zichin asked for a personal challenge with a prize. Zichin calmly confirmed and declared that he intended to challenge the entire school. The principal was surprised that Zichin wanted to challenge the entire school as a first year and asked why he thought he could do it. Zichin told her to come to the gym so he could prove his strength. At the gym, he lifted a 700-kilogram weight, and the principal realized his strength was even greater than the strongest first year in school history, Wu Tianqing. She agreed to arrange a school-wide personal challenge for him. Zichin asked the principal to set rewards, including a participation prize to encourage challengers and an accumulated prize pool for anyone who could beat him, with the pool going to him if no one succeeded within a set time. The principal agreed and promised to keep his strength a secret so people would still accept the challenge. Back at the principal's office, they confirmed the plan and Zichin thanked her. The teachers were shocked, wondering why the usually stern principal was acting so eager and fawning in front of Zichin. At 2 p.m. Zichin thought the principal introduced his personal details, recent record, and the challenge rules and prizes as planned. The audience became very excited. Some students questioned his confidence, saying he was a first year who had only beaten the strongest second-year honors class and wondered if he thought he was the strongest student like Wu Tianqing. Zichin announced that from the next day he would defend the ring in the gym every day during the 2-hour lunch break and welcomed anyone to spar. He thought it was perfect since many people wanted to challenge him, making it easier to finish the survival of the fittest early. Later at night, senior girls invited a handsome boy to a bar, but he refused. They commented he had no sense of fun and was destined to be single. The boy thought about how hard it was to find a perfect target for his rat god cult sacrifice task and worried about failing. Suddenly he saw Zichin and thought he was exactly what he had been searching for, handsome and easy to reach. He transformed into a mutant rat to make his move, but a stone suddenly hit his head. A mutant rat appeared and seemed confused. Zichin thought it was strange to find a rat man while out for a run and realized the rat codex could help boost his unlock progress. The mutant rat thought Zichin was terrifying and could not understand him, feeling very unlucky. Zichin noticed that the rat man was extremely weak and that absorbing its life essence only increased his progress by 1%. He decided not to go on night runs for now, knowing that some stronger rat god followers could resist even gunfire. Later Zichin thought about how at 3 a.m. the city's security headquarters had joined forces with Shanghai University's Evolution Academy instructors to wipe out the rat god cult. The operation had been over in 30 seconds and resulted in a total victory. He realized that Wu Tianqing, an instructor from the academy who defeated the Rat King, was a gene-fused evolver and a high-level organism. Zichin reflected on how truly powerful high-level organisms were. The scene shifted to a conversation where a boy asked Tianqing if there was still no contact from the others. Tianqing said they were still missing and that the elite force sent years ago to suppress the rebellion at source number 36 had not been found. When asked about the current situation there, Tianqing said it was relatively stable and that was why he had time to clean up the remaining trouble. The boy joked that the Rat King, who once overwhelmed city security, was just a small matter to a high-level genius like him and suggested he give a lecture at his alma mater. Tianqing replied that he was busy with real work but giving a motivational talk to juniors was still part of his job. The scene then shifted to a cave where a beast leader scolded a mutant rat. He accused it of starting with beggars, then targeting the young, and finally aiming for high-status people instead of helping open tunnels for his race. He questioned whether the rat deserved to live after causing so much trouble. The mutant rat begged for another chance, and the beast leader coldly agreed but said a price had to be paid, then crushed the rat. The beast leader shouted at Zichin, warning him that if he did not start digging tunnels right away, he would die. Later, students whispered about Zichin, saying he was a first year who wanted to challenge the whole school and wondered if he was going to the gym to begin. Zichin looked at his phone and thought about the 9 remnants of the rat god cult on the run and the rewards for giving clues, deciding he would stay hidden and power up first. He stood in the ring and noticed many people had come, and there were participation rewards. Qinghan announced that joining the challenge would give a lottery ticket with big prizes. Students cheered, talking about game consoles and iPhones, and some girls tried to get close to Zichin. One girl held his arm and thought about his strength and looks. Zichin felt things were getting strange and did not want to hit girls, but for his goal, he pushed them away and apologized. A girl still wanted to challenge him again. Zichin announced that defeated challengers were not allowed to challenge again, which made the girls complain because they still wanted to stay close to him. A boy stepped forward and angrily said he had wanted to deal with Zichin for a long time, but Zichin defeated him easily. After that, Zichin continued defeating students one by one and asked if anyone else wanted to fight. Another boy joined, and the students whispered in shock when they recognized him as Yan Shaoxian, the tyrant of the top student class in Year 2. Most believed Yan Shaoxian would win since the second-year top class was far stronger, and he had once defeated an entire class alone, though even he had lost to a senior named Qin Wishing. Yan Shaoxian spoke calmly to Zichin and said he had once been arrogant too and only learned humility after being beaten, claiming he wanted to teach Zichin a painful but meaningful lesson. Zichin calmly asked the teacher for permission to begin, and the teacher officially started the battle. Zichin kicked Han and threw him against the wall, finally feeling some peace. Students were shocked that Yan Shaoxian had been defeated so quickly and wondered if Zichin was really that strong. They noticed Qin Wishing had arrived, thinking he was there to help Shaoxian save face. Zichin realized the top student had come after the younger one. The top student said he did not expect Shaoxian to lose and rushed forward to fight Zichin, but Zichin hit him and threw him away, apologizing because he was in a hurry. Zichin then told the confused student to get on stage and fight since he had not fought yet, and after promising to go easy, he knocked the student out with one hit. Other students cheered, wanting to win prizes from the lottery. Zichin continued knocking out many students until a screen announced that in an official competition, he had eliminated 1,000 opponents using the most basic method of biological selection. Zichin thought that the simple damage boost biological attribute was really useful, though he was unsure of the exact amount of the boost. He then announced that the challenge was over and told everyone they could leave. The students murmured in surprise and walked outside. Later, the principal congratulated Zichin for claiming first place in the entire school and noted that he had even defeated Qin Wishing instantly, guessing that he was still holding back some strength. Zichin downplayed it, saying it was only a little, but the principal laughed and pointed out that based on his strength, he should be able to lift at least 800 kilograms. Zichin admitted his measured strength was 795 kilograms but thought he could not reveal his true power. He then asked about the prize money, and the principal promised to send it immediately, thinking he was obsessed with money. The principal told him he would represent the school, and Zichin asked if he and Qinghan could use the pool in the gymnasium whenever they wanted while keeping it closed to everyone else. The principal agreed quickly to let Zichin and Qinghan use the pool and gave him the key, warning him to be careful and avoid accidents. Zichin thought it was strange that she mentioned accidents and decided to cover all the cameras while using the pool because he did not like people watching him in swimwear. Later, Zichin wanted to find out what kind of superpower Henin really had. Qinghan asked Zichin for help with something. She explained that she had signed up for a singing contest and had practiced her solo part, but needed someone to rehearse the chorus with her. Zichin agreed to help her that night and hoped that the contest would give her more confidence. At night, Qinghan's father worried that it might be inappropriate for a boy and girl to be alone in the same room. Her mother said they had grown up together as childhood friends and there was nothing wrong with it, telling him to mind his own business. He agreed and stayed quiet. Meanwhile, Zichin told Qinghan they had rehearsed for half an hour and should stop, suggesting they go to the pool after school the next day and reminded her to bring her swimsuit. Qinghan nodded and blushed, thinking about which swimsuit to wear but feeling it was fine since it was only Zichin. The next day at the pool, Zichin checked the covered cameras while Chihan apologized for being late. Zichin told her to be careful not to slip, and they both started training in the pool. As they swam, she held his arm while rising on the water's surface and told him the water was passing right through her body and hands again. At night, a woman greeted Zichin and he asked for 100 caddies of savage giant eagle meat to be delivered to an address. The woman thought it was him again and wondered who this rich young master was, spending so freely. Later she reminded him to give a 5-star rating. Zichin thought about the money he had and realized it was more than enough to buy the meat. When he touched it, a screen appeared showing that he had absorbed a massive amount of the eagle's life essence and had fully unlocked its codex. He gained the biological attribute Sky Eye, which greatly improved his vision and motion tracking ability. He tried it and thought the eagle's vision was incredible. On television, a minister spoke about a triple gene fusion individual causing many casualties and warned that gene fusion was the wrong path. A doctor said it was wishful thinking to evolve without gene fusion individuals and questioned relying on traditional martial artists who could not even stop a bullet to fight mutated beasts. Zichin's father said that gene fusion users were like walking time bombs and could cause disaster if they mutated. His mother said he was overthinking because the state controlled it strictly, and the bigger concern was that gene fusion users could no longer have children. His father agreed and suggested storing some essence or having kids before fusion. His mother welcomed Zichin home and wondered if they had said anything inappropriate. His father said they should eat since Zichin was back. Zichin mentioned that the school would hold a campus singing competition tomorrow and that Chihan had signed up. His parents were excited and said they would cheer her on, treating her like a daughter. Later at the competition, his parents held a banner for Chihan. In the classroom, Zichin helped Chihan with her makeup, and she blushed when he complimented her. Chu Yushi teased them about showing off their affection, but Chihan said she only needed help because her makeup skills were bad. Chu Yushi then informed them that Chihan would perform after 2 more people. Zichin offered to walk her out so she could prepare, and Chihan trembled, feeling nervous. Chihan started crying, worried she might ruin her performance with Chu Xian because of nerves. Zichin told her to stop crying or her makeup would run. She said she could not help it, so Zichin held the curtain and cut it so she could change. She told him to turn around and change quickly, then thanked him, saying she felt less nervous after crying. Zichin wished her luck as she went on stage. The announcer introduced the contestants, and Chihan and Li Chuxing won the campus singer competition. Zichin clapped and thought of it as compensation for the damaged curtains. A screen appeared showing that he had completed 1,000 cooperative tasks and gained the social animal biological attribute, which increased his combat power based on the number of same-species allies nearby. Later, some girls complimented Chihan on her singing and invited her to karaoke after school, and she agreed. Zichin thought the singing competition had helped Chihan regain her confidence, which also stabilized her martial arts progress. He reflected on his own achievements, winning many martial arts championships and signing a sponsorship with Hiyu's family's martial arts hall. With the sponsor's advance and money from writing novels, he had saved 900,000, enough to unlock the next beast codex. At the shop, a woman greeted him again, and he chose the stealth lizard, known for its exceptional stealth. When he touched the meat, a screen appeared showing he had absorbed a large amount of its life essence and fully unlocked the codex, gaining the natural camouflage biological attribute, which allowed him to lower his presence and hide his biological level. He thought the 2 effects would let him ambush enemies or play dumb and strike hard, then decided to buy a cake his mother asked for before heading back. Later, soldiers held a girl, and Zichin ran into senior Zhang Kai. Zhang explained that he had not gotten into high school, got into a rebellious phase, crashed his motorcycle, and lost a leg. He then joined a cybernetic enhancement program and became a cyborg. Zichin asked about the woman, and Zhang Kai explained that she was a remnant of the rat god cult, the only female among the 9 remnants, and then left. Zichin thought about how the security department had struggled to catch the remnants while the mecha god group got one easily, realizing they were not to be underestimated. Later, he talked to Chihan on the phone, telling her he was on his way to get the cake and would be home soon. She told him to be careful. Zichin thought about how he and Chihan were born one day apart, and that their families always celebrated their birthdays together. During the celebration, their parents encouraged them to exchange gifts. Chihan gave Zichin a gift, and he gave one to her. Suddenly, the earth began shaking, and Zichin felt that something was wrong. Deep beneath Shanghai City, many mutant rats' eyes began to glow in the dark. The news reported that the 4.2 magnitude earthquake in Shanghai City was only a minor tremor and that the city was not near tectonic plate areas, so the risk of a major earthquake was very low. Citizens were told to remain calm. Zichen finished eating and went to school with Chi-Han. They talked about turning 18 and becoming adults and about the college entrance exam getting closer, which made Chi-Han feel nervous. After a long time, Zichen finally saved enough money to unlock the Voidial Codex. A screen appeared and showed that he had absorbed a large amount of life essence and completed the codex. He gained a danger sense ability that allowed him to feel hostility nearby and judge the level of living beings, which helped him avoid sneak attacks. He went to the mall to test it and found that most people were still ordinary. He thought about unlocking another codex but realized the undead slug one was too expensive even with his monthly income. He decided that after the college entrance exam he would find a way to earn more money. In the director office, a man reported that the education performance of cities across Nanjiang province was almost the same as last year. Tianjin City ranked first, followed by Changzhou, Nangguan, Shanghai, and Daoshan, with Haiyuan City at the bottom. Principal Yuan thanked him and said that source site number 36 was mostly stable, which allowed her to personally oversee the provincial college entrance exam. She told him to return to his work, and after he left she quietly thought that it had been many years since she last accepted a disciple. At the same time, Zichen thought about the martial arts college entrance exam in this world. The exam lasted 9 days, with a written test in the morning and a physical test in the afternoon on the first day. From the 2nd to the 8th day, the students would be sent into a forest for real combat survival training. On the 9th day, there would be a compatibility test for gene fusion and mechanical modification. Zichen realized that June 7th marked the first day of the exam. Chi-Han felt very nervous and worried about embarrassing herself again. Zichen calmly comforted her and told her to relax and do her best since her theory was strong. She also encouraged him and they agreed to do their best together. Zichen finished the written test early and used the extra time to think about his novel. After leaving the classroom, he noticed Chi-Han was quiet and thought she might not have done well. He told her that for martial arts students, passing the written exam was enough and there was no need to aim too high. Chi-Han explained that she had actually done very well but looked pale because she had an accident and needed to go to the restroom. Zichen urged her to hurry since the physical test was about to begin. During the physical test, the results shocked everyone. Zichen lifted a 950-kilogram barbell with one hand and showed incredible speed and jumping ability. The students were amazed by his strength. After the test, he asked Chi-Han about her results, and even though hers were far lower, he still praised her and said she was already a top female student. Soon he arrived and said the written exam results were out. He shared that many students scored in the 80s and that he barely reached 80 himself. Chi-Han checked and happily found she scored 82. When Zichen checked his result, it showed a perfect score, which left both of them praising him as a monster, as always. Later, Chi-Han talked about the upcoming week-long actual combat assessment and wondered what the forest would be like. Zichen calmly said he would stay by her side and protect her, and she said she would stay close to him. At the same time, in a hidden room, a masked man discussed the actual combat assessment starting the next day. He ordered another man to use his safety officer role to control 10 geniuses and handed him a box of demonic seeds. He promised rewards and promotion if the task succeeded. The other man said he wanted an evolution fruit, but the masked man explained that joining the organization would bring greater benefits and a higher evolution. The man agreed that becoming an official member first was the better choice. The teacher announced that the bus was about to reach the exam site for the actual combat assessment, and told all examinees to prepare to get off. Zichen woke Chi-Han and told her that they had arrived. After getting off the bus, they listened to the exam rules. The forest was filled with score tokens placed in dangerous locations such as treetops, cliffs, and even on wild animals and mutant beasts. Safety officers monitored every beast, and any call for help would lead to instant disqualification. Strong mutant beasts deep in the forest were meant for geniuses, while ordinary students were warned to act within their limits. The final score would depend on both collected points and performance judged through real-time cameras. With 100,000 examinees and only 50,000 points available, more than half would end with no score. Cooperation and competition were both allowed, including sharing or stealing tokens. The exam would begin in 1 hour. Some students immediately tried to form teams and seek protection by boasting about their backgrounds or strength. Principal Yuan stepped in and issued a warning that open team forming was forbidden. A few girls asked Zichen to take them along, but he refused. Later, a hungry boy asked Zichin to sell him some food. Zichin kindly gave him bread and cookies for free. The boy insisted on repaying him by joining his team and introduced himself as Hong Ju-ping from Tianjin No 1 High School, but Zichin still declined. The boy thanked him and left with the food. Chi-han found the boy strange since there were many food stalls nearby, yet he chose to ask them for food. Zichin joked that the boy did not really want food and only wanted an excuse to talk to the pretty girl with him. Chi-han realized he had come to flirt with her. Zichin said it was time to move and decided to help her slowly adapt by staying near the edge of the forest instead of going deep inside. He guided her to collect score tokens and pointed them out one by one. Chi-han followed his directions and successfully gathered them, feeling happy and amazed by how easily he spotted everything. Soon the same boy appeared again and claimed he had already collected many points and wanted to repay their kindness. He suggested forming a team and splitting the points evenly while secretly thinking Chi-han was cute. Zichin refused and coldly said that if the boy truly wanted to repay them, he could just hand over all his score tokens. The boy became angry and threatened him, but Zichin struck first and knocked him to the ground. Chi-han worried about the boy, but Zichin reassured her that he had held back. After that, Zichin continued helping Chi-han collect more score tokens and taught her how to use a simple bamboo stick to hunt wild boars. They gathered fruit, ate together, and dealt with people who tried to ambush them. When they became tired, they rested close to each other and enjoyed a rare peaceful moment. Later, Chi-han noticed they had reached the central area of the forest where mutant beasts appeared, but it seemed they had arrived too late because the beasts were already gone. Chi-han felt it was a pity that they arrived late and said Zichin could have earned a genius title by killing a mutant beast. Zichin said there was no need to feel bad because the title was not very important. He decided to leave and thought that with cameras and safety officers everywhere he could not absorb life essence anyway, so it was better to use the time to train Chi-han in survival skills. Soon after the actual combat assessment ended, the gene fusion compatibility test began. At the Island Gene Research Institute, the teachers guided the students inside to line up for testing. Chi-han noticed the reagents, and Zichin explained that they were made from flow cloud jellyfish genes which had very high compatibility with the human body. The test required drawing fresh blood and mixing it with the reagent to judge compatibility based on the reaction. Hiyu and Chushin both hoped to pass because they did not want to take the painful mechanical modification path. Chi-han completed her blood test, and Zichin said the results would come out in about an hour. When the results appeared, the students reacted with mixed emotions, as some passed easily while others barely passed or failed. Zichin knew that 6% was the passing line, 8% was excellent, and 10% was the standard for top universities. He also remembered that a famous prodigy had scored 16%. Seeing his own strength, he felt confident and thought he might reach around 20%. Chi-han became very nervous and said she could not handle the pressure anymore. Zichin comforted her and said feeling nervous was normal, while secretly worrying that a low result might separate them. Around them, other students received their results and reacted loudly with joy or disappointment. Chushin happily got 10% and qualified for the top universities, while Hiyu complained that his score was lower than expected. Zichin noticed that it was almost their turn and decided to check first since Chi-han was too scared. Zichin checked his result and found that his gene fusion compatibility was 15%. Chi-han praised him and said he had surely become the top scorer in the province. Zichin felt slightly dissatisfied because it was still lower than the famous prodigy, and realized that physical strength was not the only factor. He then asked Chi-han to check her result, and Chushin encouraged her with confidence. When the result appeared, it showed that Chi-han had 21% compatibility, which shocked Zichin completely. Elsewhere, the school leaders announced that the results from all schools were out, and revealed that the provincial top scorer came from Shanghai High School. The principals praised Zichin at first, but were soon stunned when Chi-han's result appeared. They could not believe such a score was possible from a student who had always seemed average, and decided to personally verify the result. Chi-han herself was shocked and thought there must be a mistake. Zichin calmly explained that her natural affinity with water matched perfectly with the water-type gene used in the test. Chi-han finally understood that she was truly a genius and felt proud of herself. Zichin felt genuinely happy for her. Just then the students suddenly began to murmur and point into the distance, as they saw a strange woman standing on a wave which filled everyone with shock and fear. The students were surprised to see the woman and whispered that she might be Vice Principal Yuan Dongji from Shanghai University, a member of the legendary Yuan family who had once fused dragon genes and could control ocean waves. The vice principal confirmed Chi-han's identity and ordered the doctor to take 3 more blood samples and retest her. Chushin was shocked at how much blood was taken and asked if Chi-han was alright. The doctor then asked Chi-han to follow him. In the room, the vice principal revealed that all 3 tests still showed 21% compatibility, and said she wanted Chi-han to become her disciple. Chi-han was surprised and asked if she could have time to think about it because she wanted to discuss it with Zichin first. The vice principal insisted there was nothing to think about, and explained that becoming her disciple only brought benefits. She told Chi-han that she would have to attend Shanghai University, and then added her contact on WeChat. The vice principal also mentioned that she had another disciple who became her student 10 years earlier, and was around Chi-han's age, and she had sent a photo to introduce them later. Chi-han was surprised and wondered if the senior sister, Luo Ganxue, could be her old elementary school friend Bai Shui. The vice principal said that was impossible, and then explained that Chi-han's gene fusion compatibility was extraordinary. She decided to run a full-body examination to see if there was anything unusual or special about Chi-han's body. Chi-han nodded as the vice principal examined her body and said it was strange. Chi-han asked if something was wrong, and the vice principal explained that her body was unusually normal for someone with a 21% gene fusion score. To protect her, she said she would announce a lower score of 16% publicly. She told Chi-han it was late and she could go home. Chi-han thanked her and left. Alone, the vice principal called her father and told him she had taken the student with the 21% score as her disciple. Her father praised her and said the disciple was destined for greatness. He also reminded her to keep the disciple's talent a secret. She agreed. Later that night, Zichin expressed how strange it was that Chi-han suddenly had a master. Chi-han agreed it all happened too fast. Zichin said they should wait and see, and if the master was trustworthy it would be good, but if not, Chi-han could end the relationship once she was strong enough. Their mothers welcomed them home and suggested celebrating at a restaurant. They praised Henin and Zichin for ranking first and second in the provincial exam and enjoyed the celebration together. Later they reminded each other to be careful on the way home and to hang out often. At Chi-han's home, her mother joked about her coming to stay with Zichin again. Chi-han said she had something important to talk to Zichin in person and went to his room. Zichin's mother wondered if Chi-han was going to confess her feelings. Chi-han told Zichin that it was about the master she acknowledged earlier. She explained that the master had done a full-body examination but found nothing unusual, and her body was completely normal. Zichin realized that even someone as powerful as Yuan Dongji could not discover the secret of Chi-han's body. He told her not to let anyone else find out about it, and that they would study it carefully once they became stronger. Chi-han agreed to listen. She also mentioned that the master had told her she had a senior sister, and that when she saw the photo, she thought the senior sister might be Bai Shui. Zichin thought the senior sister and Bai Shui looked a little alike but had very different auras and temperaments. He asked Chi-han where the photo was taken, and she said she didn't know much, only that it was called the Origin Ground, and promised to ask her master later. Zichin decided to leave it for another time. Chi-han then asked if men liked women wearing kipeos. Zichin wondered if she was influenced by her master, and said it depended on the person. He added that she would look good in one. Chi-han blushed and asked about stockings, and Zichin replied black or white if he had to choose. Chi-han said she had placed an order for both the qipao and stockings, leaving Zichin confused. His mother knocked and said she had brought Chi-han's toiletries because she would be staying over that night. Chi-han protested that she didn't ask for them, but her mother said it was fine since they were adults. Chi-han blushed, said she had no choice, and went to change her diaper before going to bed, shouting in surprise about what her mother had packed. Zichin thought everything happening was very strange. The next morning, Zichin told Chi-han to hold on tight as he prepared to ride. He thought about how both of them had been admitted to Shanghai University's Evolution College and had signed contracts with the Yu's martial arts school. They were heading to the martial arts school for a promotional event but ran into several strange people blocking their way. A man introduced himself as Lu Chuanwu, the dean of Shanghai University's martial arts college, representing the Tiananmen Pavilion. Zichin remembered that Tiananmen Pavilion was a conservative organization opposing gene fusion and mechanical modification, often criticized online for misleading young people. Lu Chuanwu invited Zichin to join the pavilion and even offered him a new iPhone. Zichin agreed to follow him. At the restaurant, Lu Chuanwu explained that Tiananmen Pavilion studied how to unlock the potential of pure-blood humans without relying on gene fusion or mechanical modification. He said their goal was to break ordinary limits and evolve into advanced, rare, or legendary beings. He showed Zichen a video of himself defeating a high-level gene fusioner, claiming he had already achieved some results. Zichen recognized the person in the video as Wu Tianqing, the one who had wiped out the rat god cult. Chuanwu explained that pure-blood humans who trained with body-tempering techniques were the real future, and did not need to rely on other races. Zichen wondered if the video was real, edited, or if Wu Tianqing was just an actor. Chuanwu assured him the video had no post-production editing and said he would continue challenging other high-level gene fusioners, inviting Zichen to watch anytime. Zichen asked why the video was not posted online to promote the Tianren Pavilion. Chuanwu said the authorities would not allow it because they believed humanity needed to raise biological levels, but he explained that if Zichen joined, he could evolve into a high-level being much faster instead of training 50 years and remaining at ordinary 9th rank. Zichen was surprised, thinking Chuanwu looked only 50. Chuanwu explained that although he looked 50 or 60, he was nearly 100 years old, and had maintained his appearance entirely through the body tempering technique. Chuanwu told Zichen he could check his information on Qiandu Encyclopedia. Zichen thought the body tempering technique could really extend lifespan but wondered if his parents could cultivate it. He read that Chuanwu had been the eldest young master of the Lu martial family, a top family in Nanjiang province, but the family declined when gene fusion became popular because they refused to fuse with mutant beast genes. Chuanwu's wife and children left him for choosing the non-fusion path. Zichen thought that if it were Qinghan, she would never leave him because of their childhood bond. He also noticed Yuan Dongji's profile and wondered about her power. Chuanwu explained that his youthful appearance at nearly 100 years old proved the potential of pure-blooded humans, and that Tianren Pavilion existed to help humans surpass their limits. He said relying solely on gene fusion or mechanical modification could never surpass mutant beasts, and would eventually lead to humanity's downfall. He clarified that Tianren Pavilion did not oppose gene fusion or mechanical modification but wanted alternative paths for later stages. Chuanwu invited Zichen to join the pavilion and help humanity's future, believing he could become the first pure-blooded human to break ordinary limits. Zichen then asked what exactly the body tempering technique was. Chuanwu explained to Zichen that the Tianren Pavilion's body tempering technique was a blood tempering technique from ancient ruins. It used qi and blood to strengthen the body and increase combat power. At its highest level, it could make the body extremely strong, able to fly, dig through the earth, break mountains, and defeat giant mutant beasts using only human flesh and bones. He said only pure-blooded humans could cultivate it because gene fusers and cyborgs had flaws that prevented them from using the technique. Chuanwu invited Zichen to join the pavilion and follow the pure-blooded human path. Zichen said he wanted to learn more about pure-blooded humans first. Chuanwu encouraged him, saying his physical talent was extraordinary and that he could surpass even the top provincial scorer with low gene fusion compatibility. Qinghan thought she had been dragged into the conversation without saying anything. Zichen thanked Chuanwu for the iPhone and milk tea and said it was time for them to leave. Chuanwu urged Zichen to join the Tianren Pavilion for 6 months and promised to give him double, or even triple the benefits of Evolution College. Zichen agreed, saying he admired their ideals and wanted to contribute to the future of pure-blooded humans. Chuanwu was glad and wondered how much it would cost to support Zichen. Zichen then asked about the origin land. Chuanwu explained that it was believed to be the origin of life and the source of all mutant beasts. Zichen learned that beast origin was the birthplace of all life and realized that humanity already knew about anomalies and could access the origin ground. He understood that the beast meat sold in malls also came from there because Earth could not support the demand. He asked about videos but was told that all electronic devices failed in the origin ground and only paintings could record it, making him realize the image he saw was a drawing. After receiving a call, he ended the chat and was given a translated manual of the blood refining technique, which required at least ordinary tier stage 4 to cultivate. Zichen noted that he had already reached ordinary tier stage 6 and planned to start training after returning. Later, on a bright day, a girl noticed Chuanwu in a good mood and asked why. Chuanwu proudly said that the second-place scorer of the Nanjiang Province College entrance exam and the top physical test holder had joined the Heaven Human Pavilion, and he was especially pleased that he even got the student's contact information. She asked the dean how he managed to recruit such a talent, and he jokingly credited his personal charm before admitting that he had promised 3 times the benefits offered by the Evolution Academy. She was shocked and worried because the pavilion was already deep in debt, but he casually said that meetings with 3 rich ladies would cover the cost. She urged him not to act so recklessly again. The dean then asked about her past cultivation and learned that she had sensed chi and blood in about a week and mastered blood control in 2 months. He praised her talent from her college entrance exam days in the capital, while she bitterly said that after abandoning gene fusion and joining the Celestial Pavilion, she had failed to reach a high tier and had been mocked for years. He told her to ignore the ridicule and believe that she would surpass them in the future. When she asked how long Lin Zichen might take to sense chi and blood, the dean judged that with his outstanding test results, it would likely take around 10 days. Hearing this, she became eager and decided to personally teach the talented junior. Later that night in his room, Zichen realized that sensing chi and blood was easy for him and that he had completed it almost instantly. He moved on to controlling it and began refining his right arm. A system screen appeared showing that his skin durability and blood refining technique proficiency had increased. After half an hour, he finished refining his right arm and tested it with a blade, discovering that it had already become blade-proof after just 1 round. He compared this to Lu Chuanwu's strength after 3 refinements and became curious about how strong he would be after 5. 3 hours later, Zichen calculated that at this pace he could finish refining all his skin in less than a week. Both of his arms had been refined, using about 1/3 of his chi and blood. When he checked his phone, he wondered what kind of surprise could require him to come out so late. His mother guessed that he was going to see Qing Han and encouraged him not to keep her waiting. Zichen went to Qing Han's room and announced his arrival. Qing Han invited him in and shyly said she had prepared a surprise for him. He noticed she was wrapped in a blanket and felt curious and confused about what the surprise could be. She urged him to see it for himself and asked him to lift the blanket, and both of them became embarrassed as the moment grew tense. Zichen lifted the blanket and was surprised to see Qing Han wearing a dress. She shyly asked if she looked good, and he honestly praised her. She then showed him the stockings she bought and asked for his opinion, and he agreed that they suited her well. The atmosphere between them became awkward and full of quiet emotion as they teased each other lightly. At that moment, Qing Han's mother suddenly called from outside, saying that Zichen's mother had brought daily necessities and left them at the door. Zichen quickly replied that he understood. When he later looked at the items, he felt a little amused and thought that they had not even kissed yet, so there was no need to rush anything. Qing Han told Zichen that it was late and suggested he stay the night. She asked him to turn around while she got ready, then told him to turn off the lights so they could sleep. Zichen agreed, and they laid down together quietly. While resting, Zichen noticed a pleasant smell and asked about it. Qing Han said it was her natural body fragrance, which made the bed smell nice. As they looked at each other, emotions rose and they shared a brief kiss. She suddenly stopped and said something felt wrong. After explaining her feelings of a racing heart, warmth, and strong emotional changes, Zichen realized that her reaction was linked to intense mental fluctuations. Zichen concluded that her unknown superpower was likely related to mental power and controlled by her mental state. He believed that if her mental power became strong enough, she might fully awaken and eventually learn to control this ability. Qing Han said she needed to change first, but Zichen continued observing her reactions and asked how she felt again. She explained that her mental state fluctuated strongly just like before, which confirmed Zichen's guess that her ability was triggered by mental power. Feeling tired and sweaty, Qing Han went to take a shower and asked Zichen to bring her pajamas since she forgot her clothes. He agreed and quietly picked something from her wardrobe. Later, Qing Han fell asleep, and Zichen left the room calmly. Downstairs, her mother invited him to stay for breakfast before heading home, and he accepted. Her father asked about Qing Han and learned she was still sleeping, then casually praised her achievements and discipline. After breakfast, Zichen left without making a fuss. Later, Qing Han's parents talked privately and guessed that their daughter had grown closer to Zichen, seeing it as good progress. Meanwhile, Zichen returned to his room and decided to take care of his chores by washing his clothes from the previous day. His mother praised him and said that he was very capable. Later, on a bright day, Ma Zhenhe angrily confronted Lu Chuanwu and demanded an explanation about Lin Zichen. Lu Chuanwu calmly said he did not know what explanation was needed. Ma Zhenhe accused him of secretly poaching Lin Zichen, who had already enrolled in the Evolution College, and called his actions shameless. Lu Chuanwu argued back that his martial arts college also had the right to recruit students, and that Lin Zichen was not yet an official student since college had not started. Ma Zhenhe insisted that even if it was not written in the rules, Lu Chuanwu had broken the unspoken agreement between deans. Lu Chuanwu mocked this idea and claimed his recruitment was open and fair, telling Ma Jinhe to convince Lin Zichen himself if he was unhappy. Furious, Ma Jinhe accused him of hypocrisy and challenged him to settle the matter through a direct fight, calling that true fair competition. Lu Chuanwu refused to fight and said it would be unfair because Ma Jinhe was much stronger than him. Ma Jinhe mocked him by comparing their ages, but Lu Chuanwu argued that it was still bullying an old man. Ma Jinhe coldly said that without gene fusion, Lu Chuanwu would stay weak forever and walked away while looking down on his beliefs. Later, the vice principal comforted Ma Jinhe and said that after college started, Lin Zichen would see others surpass him through gene fusion or mechanical changes and would return on his own. Ma Jinhe said the real issue was that Lu Chuanwu had broken the rule and needed punishment. The vice principal suggested using the same tactic and poaching the second-ranked student back, which Ma Jinhe agreed to do. After he left, she quietly reflected that Ma Jinhe always lost his temper when facing Lu Chuanwu and felt that Lu Chuanwu could have achieved much more if he had chosen a different path. The scene then shifted to training, where Qinhan said she could not run anymore. Zichen gave her water and suggested ending training to relax on a nearby bench. After resting, Qinhan thanked him, and Zichen said there was no need to be so formal between them. Qinhan then asked what kind of relationship they had now, wondering if they were friends, childhood friends, or something more. Zichen said they were family. Qinhan smiled and asked what kind of family that meant, then teased that it was a fiancé kind of family, and asked if they would get married after graduating from university. Zichen nodded with a smile and agreed. Qinhan made him promise with a pinky promise, and said there was no backing out for 100 years. Later someone knocked at the house door. Zichen's father opened it, and was surprised to see Dean Ma Jinhe. Ma apologized for visiting so late, and said he came to talk about Zichen choosing a college. Zichen's father felt confused because he thought the decision was already made. Ma brought 2 ice crystal fish as a small gift, and they went inside to talk. While sitting, Ma said Zichen's gene fusion compatibility was 15% and that the gene fusion path would give him limitless potential. He warned that the pure-blooded human path would waste Zichen's talent, and said Tianren Pavilion had shown no real progress. He advised Zichen not to take that path and urged him to return to the Evolution College instead. Zichen's mother said she did not understand what Dean Ma meant and thought Zichen had already enrolled in the Evolution College. Zichen then told his parents that he had forgotten to inform them that a few days ago he joined the Tianren Pavilion and switched his enrollment to the Martial Arts College to pursue the pure-blooded human path. His mother was shocked and asked what was really going on. Zichen explained that he truly agreed with the Tianren Pavilion philosophy and that the Martial Arts College dean offered triple benefits, so he agreed to join the pavilion for half a year and try the pure-blooded human path. He said that if there was no progress in 6 months, he would return to the Evolution College and follow the gene fusion path instead. Dean Ma felt angry in his heart and thought the offer was ridiculous. He warned Zichen that triple benefits were only small gains and not worth sacrificing his future. He said that even 6 months would cause Zichen to miss a large amount of valuable knowledge and that no benefits could make up for that loss. He urged Zichen again not to waste those 6 months. Zichen thanked Dean Ma for the reminder but said he strongly believed in the Tianren Pavilion philosophy. He explained that if he did not try it now, it would stay in his mind in the future and become a burden. In his heart, he admitted that the triple benefits were also very hard to refuse. Seeing his determination, Ma Jinhe said there was no point in saying more and decided to leave because he still had other matters. Zichen's father quickly followed him to walk him out. Later that night, Zichen checked the news and was shocked to see reports saying that Lin Zichen, the second highest scorer in the provincial entrance exam, had joined the Tianren Pavilion and chosen the pure-blooded human path. The articles mocked him and compared him to a past genius who also became ordinary after joining the pavilion. Zichen realized the comments were all negative and felt like hired voices were guiding public opinion. His personal information had been exposed, and he was being cyberbullied, which made him worry about attracting dangerous attention. He wondered if Dean Ma or another force was behind it but decided it did not matter. He immediately called to report the post for leaking a student personal information. 2 hours later, he felt relieved that the post was taken down, though he was troubled to learn that his photos had already been leaked. Later that night, Qihan said she would sleep at Zichen's place and asked if he had seen the news about himself. She felt angry and said those people lacked basic decency for using an innocent examinee as a pawn. Zichen calmly replied that power struggles work that way and that those who kept principles were often at a disadvantage. Qihan suggested asking her master for help, but Zichen believed it was a conflict between factions and that her master had no reason to step in. Chihan still tried, and to Zichen's surprise, within half an hour all the news about him disappeared. Zichen realized her master had helped after all and felt grateful. He asked Chihan to pass on his thanks, and when she asked how he would thank her, she playfully asked for a kiss. Later, Zichen continued his cultivation and saw his biological level rise to ordinary 7th rank after finishing tempering his whole body skin. He felt satisfied with his progress and believed his current strength was already comparable to multiple gene fusions. He also thought about Qinghan's future path and worried about the consequences of gene fusion, which led to preparations being made in advance. On Monday, Qinghan lay on a hospital bed while a nurse told her the injections were done and asked her to return the next day for the procedure. Qinghan thanked the nurse politely. After leaving, Chuxin complained that it was troublesome and that she did not expect they would need to come back again. Qinghan admitted she still felt a little nervous. Chuxin suggested going shopping to ease Qinghan's nervousness and asked if Zichen wanted to come along. Zichen declined and said he had things to handle at home, which made Chuxin happy because it became just her and Qinghan time together. After they left, Zichen stayed home and began muscle tempering. He felt a much stronger burning sensation than during skin tempering but managed to endure it. By the afternoon, he had tempered his entire right arm and felt dizzy from exhaustion, knowing he needed to restore his qi and blood. Even so, he was surprised to find his strength had increased by half and felt that the blood tempering technique suited him very well. When Qinghan returned, she knocked and said she needed to talk. She explained that Chuxin suggested everyone go out together before college started and that he would also come, so she agreed for Zichen as well. She then admitted Chuxin wanted to go to the beach, but she felt afraid of the sea because of frightening sounds she once heard and did not know how to refuse after already agreeing. Zichen reassured her and said he would go with her and that they could simply avoid going into the water. Elsewhere, the scene shifted to a hidden cave where a beast leader reported that tunnels had been dug as ordered. The Lord Envoy stepped forward, used his blood to set a biological coordinate, and filled the area with dark energy. He explained that once the same coordinate was established on the other side, the tunnels would connect directly to the origin land. Chuxin asked Yu when he got his driver license, and he proudly said he earned it 10 days after summer vacation began through a fast-track course arranged by his father. Chuxin was surprised such a course existed, and Yu offered to help them join if they were interested, which everyone eagerly agreed to. When they arrived at the beach, Yu excitedly shouted about the sea and bikinis, but Chuxin scolded him and dragged Qinghan away to change, telling her to ignore him. Qinghan quietly nodded. Yu then urged Zichen to go change and said he could not wait to dive into the sea. At that moment, some boys nearby whispered about Zichen being the second highest scorer who joined the Tian'an pavilion and mocked him for ruining his future. Yu angrily confronted them and demanded they speak clearly, but Zichen calmly stopped him and said it was not worth wasting energy. Yu admired Zichen's temper and said he would have already punched them. Zichen replied that he simply did not care about such things, but if it involved something important to him, he would definitely act. When Yu asked what Zichen truly cared about, Chuxin answered without hesitation that it was Qinghan. Yu agreed and said he should not have asked. Chuxin then urged the boys to hurry and change as well. Before leaving, Zichen gently asked Qinghan if she wanted him to apply sunscreen for her, and she nodded softly. Zichen carefully applied the sunscreen and asked if it was fine. Yu watched with mixed feelings and jokingly offered to help Chuxin as well, but she immediately rejected him. Suddenly, Qinghan heard a strange voice speaking about awakening, revival, and the sea origin land, and she felt certain it came from the sea. Zichen noticed her unease and listened as she explained what she heard. He calmly suggested it might be connected to the origin land and admitted their knowledge was still too limited. He advised her to quietly ask her master about it after college started, and Qinghan agreed. Later, Zichen reflected on his cultivation progress. After completing full muscle tempering, he had moved on to bone tempering and found it far more painful than expected. Even so, he endured it and finished tempering all the bones in his body. He realized he was only one step away from the advanced level and that opening even a single aperture would allow him to break through, though the method was unclear and he would need to explore it himself. When they arrived at Shanghai University, their parents announced they had reached their destination. Qinghan happily noticed that the old ice cream shop was still there, and Zichen agreed, remembering how they used to eat there as children. His mother suggested buying ice cream first since there was still time before registration. Qinghan chose strawberry milk flavor and happily shared it with Zichen, urging him to take more bites. Nearby, they overheard a man speaking crudely to a woman, which drew attention as another person told him to stop fooling around and focus on what they were doing instead. Some men nearby gossiped about Huang Jiasen, saying she acted cold at the art college but behaved very differently around a student from the evolution college. They talked about how students from the evolution college had secure futures and believed that was why others tried to get close to them. Zichen listened and briefly thought about the structure of Shanghai University, where the outer campus was for cultural and art students, while the inner campus was restricted and reserved for evolution, mechanical, and martial arts students because of sensitive research. Zichen's mother reminded both of them that university life came with more freedom but warned them not to lose discipline or waste time. His father agreed and said they trusted the two of them to stay on the right path. As it got late, their parents told them to head toward the inner campus since outsiders were not allowed in. Zichen's father also reminded him to take good care of Qin Han, and Zichen promised he would. At the inner campus entrance, a guard asked them to show their admission notices. Qin Han handed hers over and was cleared to enter. The guard recognized Zichen immediately as the provincial exam's second highest scorer who joined the Tianren Pavilion and allowed him in without checking. Zichen then reflected that the inner campus was filled with gene fusion users and cyborgs. After completing freshman registration, he escorted Qin Han to her dorm at the Evolution College before heading to his own dorm at the Martial Arts College. Several senior girls crowded around Zichen, praising his looks and eagerly offering to add him on WeChat, carry his luggage, and guide him to his dorm. Zichen politely accepted the help and thanked one senior for guiding him. Along the way, she pointed out the university combat power rankings and explained that there were peak and freshman lists, with the top spots dominated by advanced level evolution and mechanical students. Zichen quietly took in the information and noticed that martial arts students were rare and ranked low. The senior also talked about a former martial arts student named Song Yuan, who once reached a very high rank but later hit a bottleneck on the pure-blooded human path and was surpassed by others. She said Song Yuan later became a mentor and an important researcher in the Tianren Pavilion. When they reached the dorm, she mentioned that Zichen had a single room to himself, which showed his special status. She casually suggested taking a shower, but Zichen politely declined and instead treated her to milk tea as thanks for her help. Afterward, Zichen felt that the milk tea was enough to repay the favor. Standing alone in his small single dorm room, he could not help comparing it to Qin Han's spacious apartment, and realized just how wealthy the Evolution College truly was. Qin Han told Zichen that his dorm was too small and invited him to move into her dorm, saying her bed was even bigger than the one at home. Zichen agreed immediately and thought about how rich the Evolution College was, realizing his assigned dorm at the Martial Arts Academy was tiny in comparison. He wondered if Lu Chuanwu could really deliver on the promise of triple benefits. When he arrived, Qin Han welcomed him and said she had turned on the air conditioning, making the living room very cool. Zichen was impressed by how luxurious and clean the dorm was and noted that her master clearly cared for her. Qin Han agreed and said the dorm would now be their little home where they could relax freely. She joked about running around naked, and Zichen told her not to be too wild. She said she was sweaty and went to take a shower, while Zichen decided to check a new student app on his phone. He learned that he could earn credits by climbing the university rankings, completing missions, or representing the university in competitions, which seemed easier than earning money. After her shower, Qin Han asked Zichen to bring her clothes in. While doing so, she blushed and mentioned how comfortable the bathtub was, even inviting him to join her. Qin Han said it would be a waste if she soaked in the big bathtub alone, so Zichen suggested they soak together and offered to scrub her back. She agreed and said she would scrub his back afterward. After showering and eating, Zichen began his second round of skin tempering, which was much harder than the first, and took him 2 hours just to finish his right hand. He asked Qin Han for a sewing needle to test his skin toughness. When he stabbed the back of his hand, the needle could not penetrate, and even bent and snapped, impressing Qin Han. Zichen then tested the heat resistance of his skin by holding his palm over a flame. He only felt a slight burn after more than a minute and thought the blood tempering technique was extremely effective. He felt confident that with his biological attributes, he would eventually achieve a sanctified body. At that moment, he received a message from Lu Chuanwu inviting him to visit the Tianren Pavilion headquarters. Zichen replied that he was free and told Qin Han he was heading out. She told him to go ahead, and he thought about waiting in the shade under a tree for the pavilion member to arrive. A boy recognized Zichen and greeted him, saying he knew he was the second highest scorer in Nanjiang province who joined the Tian'an Pavilion and wished him success. Zichen thought about how famous he had become, and wondered where the boy came from. Suddenly, a biker girl stopped in front of him and asked if he was Lin Zichen. He confirmed, and she introduced herself as Song Yuyen, a mentor at the Martial Arts College and researcher of the Tian'an Pavilion. She said she was there to pick him up and take him to the headquarters. Zichen thought about her past as a top scorer who followed the pure-blooded human path but ended up ordinary. While riding on the bike, Song Yuyen joked that he should hug her tighter and teased him about having such a beautiful mentor. She asked why he had been downstairs at the Evolution College dorms, and Zichen explained that his childhood sweetheart and current girlfriend lived there, so he moved in with her. Song Yuyen commented on how lucky young people were and how different her own life was. When they arrived at the Pure Human Institute, she showed him inside and explained that it was the living and leisure area, funded by the institute, where he could relax and help himself to food and drinks. She then offered to show him the research area and help him get familiar with the place. Zichen noticed how empty the institute was and asked about it. Song Yuyen explained that the Tian'an Pavilion was not well regarded and received very little funding, so it could only support a few members, the dean, herself, Zichen, and 3 senior martial arts students. Zichen realized that the people he had seen following the other student before were probably just hired to put on a show, but he decided it did not matter as long as he received triple the benefits. Song Yuyen announced that she had brought him, and Lu Chuanwu welcomed both of them inside. Qinghan noticed how worn out Chuanwu looked and asked how long he had been in the institute. He explained that he had been researching the blood tempering technique's aperture opening chapter for almost half a month without progress, but he believed that with Zichen joining, the pure-blooded human path would advance significantly. He also praised Song Yuyen, reminding Zichen that she had once been the second highest scorer in the Kyoto College entrance exam. Song Yuyen teased Chuanwu about her past physical test scores, but he acknowledged her achievements and said her involvement had helped him complete the 3rd round of body tempering after decades of struggle. He encouraged Zichen, saying that even though his exam score was not as high as hers, he still had great potential and could surpass her in the future. Song Yuyen agreed that with enough accumulation, Zichen could achieve great success. Chuanwu asked about Zichen's progress on the blood tempering technique, and Zichen confirmed that he had learned to control his qi and blood and had reached ordinary 4th rank. Chuanwu said that next Song Yuyen would guide him through skin tempering and predicted he could complete the first round successfully during the freshman semester. Zichen surprised everyone by saying he had already finished his first round of skin tempering during summer vacation, leaving them all shocked. Song Yuyen was shocked to hear that Zichen had completed his first round of skin tempering alone during summer vacation and could not believe he managed it without a teacher. Zichen explained that he had studied the translated blood tempering technique manual carefully and figured out how to temper his skin. Chuanwu initially thought Zichen must have been mistaken and asked to check his hand himself. When he saw the results, he was astonished and confirmed that Zichen had indeed completed the first round of skin tempering. Zichen said his current biological level was ordinary, 5th rank. Chuanwu shouted in excitement, calling Zichen an unparalleled genius and saying that the pure-blooded human path was now secured and could advance beyond ordinary and even advanced levels. Yuyen realized that having someone as capable as Zichen leading them would help push the pure-blooded human path further. She suggested publicizing Zichen's talent to attract more geniuses and funding, but Chuanwu insisted it should remain secret to protect Zichen and focus all resources on helping him break limits. Yuyen worried about the funding for research, and Zichen thought that if they knew the full extent of his abilities, including muscle and bone tempering and second-round progress, they would probably be completely shocked. Chuanwu told Zichen that he no longer needed to attend classes at the martial arts college because basic courses would not help him much, and that he should come straight to the research institute with Song Yuyen as his assistant. Yuyen protested about being an assistant to a junior, but Chuanwu said dignity did not matter when researching the pure-blooded human path. He told Zichen about the freshman welcome assembly the next day and the entrance test to select the freshman king, saying that with Zichen's strength, he would almost certainly win and earn 10 cheap blood pills. Yuyen noticed that winning the title would also give university credits. On the day of the freshman welcome assembly, students murmured about Zichen sitting with Qinghan, wondering about their relationship. Li Moyu asked Zichen if he remembered him, and Zichen confirmed they were childhood friends and engaged, planning to marry after graduation. Zichen then noticed a girl with cat ears and was surprised. Students were shocked to see Zichen as the freshman representative, expecting someone else with gene fusion, and realized they could not judge a person by appearance. Li Moyu thought about how he had dyed his hair and acted like a chatterbox to create a contrast, and then began speaking to the students about Li Jin, a known genius from Kyoto University. Li Moyu introduced himself as the top scorer of the Kyoto College entrance exam and the younger brother of Li Jin. He said his gene fusion compatibility was 16%, tying for first place nationwide, and that his physical test score was number 1 in the country. He explained that he and his brother had made a pact to break records at Kyoto and Shanghai universities. He then demonstrated the biological pressure of ordinary level, 5th rank, surprising the students who were mostly lower ranks and making them feel the gap between them and a genius. Chihan thought Li Moyu was silly for being proud of ordinary level 5th rank, knowing Zichin could easily surpass him. Zichin decided to keep a low profile. The student council president, Zhou Xiahong, spoke next, explaining the power of the student union, how it recruited 10 freshmen based on strength, and the harsh survival of the fittest rules of the inner campus where seniors often oppress juniors. Students felt overwhelmed by the biological pressure of advanced level students and struggled to breathe under it. Zichin felt that the biological pressure from the advanced level senior was strong, but from his distance it barely affected him, even though he was only at ordinary level 9th rank. The students were relieved when the pressure ended after a few seconds and realized how terrifying advanced level beings truly were. After the assembly, Vice Principal Yuan announced the entrance test rules. A large martial arts stage would be used, and anyone who could stand alone on it for more than 1 minute would become the freshman king and receive 100 credits, far more than previous years. Rankings would continue down to 10th place, which would receive 10 credits. The students discussed how the top 10 were usually dominated by the genius class, but if even one student from an ordinary class entered the top 10, all non-genius class freshmen would receive 1 credit, which was worth a large sum of money. Hyu from Evolution Class 6 then spoke up, introducing Lin Zichin as the strongest regular class freshman, and calling on everyone to work together to target the genius class and help Zichin break into the top 10. The students murmured that they wanted to help Lin Zichin break into the top 10, and would do their best to clear the path for him. Ma Junhe asked President Zhou if he was being too petty. Chuanwu said it was unfair to take out Li Yijin's actions on his younger brother. Ma Junhe replied that very few people could match Chuanwu in pettiness. Chuanwu said his pettiness only targeted the person involved and did not drag in their family. President Zhou asked Ma Junhe about his daughter's performance in the college entrance exam. Ma Junhe said she ranked 3rd in Kyoto. Zhou told him to have his daughter join the student union and promised to train her as a potential future president. Ma Junhe agreed and said he would count on Zhou to support Shuei. Zhou said he would give proper support to any genius student, and asked who might be the freshman king this year between Li Moyu and Ma Shuei. The teachers discussed that Li Moyu would likely win because his biological level was already strong and he was almost invincible among freshmen. Ma Shuei had fused with the genes of a shadow night cat during the summer, which might make her strength close to Li Moyu, but it was only a partial fusion, so her improvement was likely limited. Chuanwu said that neither Li Moyu nor Ma Shuei would become the freshman king and firmly claimed that the title would belong to Lin Zichin from Tian'an Pavilion. Ma Junhe questioned this and said Lin Zichin did not even rank in the top 10 in physical tests during the college entrance exam and mocked Chuanwu for bragging. Chuanwu challenged him to a bet of 100 credits. Ma Junhe agreed but warned him not to regret it later while secretly doubting Chuanwu's confidence and briefly worrying about his own daughter. A man with an iron body mentioned that Lin Zichin had originally been meant to join the Evolution College but was taken away by Dean Liu, asking if that caused resentment. Ma Junhe dismissed it and said his college had plenty of talents, and losing one student did not matter. The man privately felt that Ma Junhe was clearly taking revenge after poaching students himself. Chuanwu secretly felt delighted as many people had placed bets, and he believed he would make a large profit. At that moment President Zhou loudly ordered everyone to charge and smash the genius class. Zichin observed that many students in the genius class had entered only because of high gene fusion compatibility, while true strength belonged to the 12 elites led by Li Moyu and Ma Shuei. He noted that Li Moyu and Ma Shuei had both reached the ordinary level 5th rank, while the remaining 10 elites were at the ordinary level 4th rank. The ordinary class students shouted mockingly, and claimed the genius class had already been beaten and should stop hiding. A muscular student named Lu Qiji stepped forward and accused them of using numbers to bully the weak, challenging everyone to attack him at once. The students rushed in confidently, believing their numbers would overwhelm him. Instead, Lu Qiji defeated them all and coldly stated that no matter how many there were, the weak could not harm the strong. One student angrily called for Lin Zichen to step in and take Lu Qiji down. Zichen calmly agreed to fight. Lu Qiji then revealed his identity as the top scorer of Yunnan province and proudly listed his terrifying physical achievements, openly challenging Lin Zichen to reveal his own test results. Zichen said there was no need to announce anything because everyone would experience it themselves. The students murmured in shock and praised Lin Zichen as incredible. Li Moyu realized that Zichen did not rely on tactics but won with pure strength. Ma Junhe felt uneasy and thought that Zichen looked calm on the surface but was truly ruthless inside. Lu Yongjian stepped forward proudly as the top scorer of Jiangxi province in the 100-meter sprint, yet he was also defeated by Zichen. The students erupted again and cheered that the ordinary class finally had its own genius who was crushing the arrogant talents of the genius class. A teacher urgently called for Li Moyu and Ma Shiwei to step up or the title of freshman king would be taken by the ordinary class. When Shiwei stepped forward, the crowd loudly supported her and also encouraged Zichen to fight without holding back. Zichen treated this as a rare chance to observe a gene fusioner up close and noticed her terrifying speed when she attacked. Shiwei was shocked that he dodged so easily and understood she could not threaten him in her current state, so she asked for 30 seconds to fully activate her Shadow Nightcat genes before fighting seriously. He nodded and agreed to let her do as she wished, thinking this was a rare chance to witness full gene activation, and refusing would be foolish. Ma Junhe grew worried and thought that she had only recently completed gene fusion, and pushing herself like this would cause serious backlash, yet she was still as stubborn and competitive as in childhood. Shiwei accused Lin Zichen of being arrogant for waiting and believed he would pay for it, but when she attacked, he calmly dodged her kick. Zichen noticed that she had risen from ordinary level 5th rank and was now extremely close to the 6th rank. Shiwei was shocked that she still could not touch him and attacked again and again, growing more confused and frustrated as every strike missed. Zichen felt he had already gathered almost all the data he needed on the Shadow Nightcat gene fusioner and decided not to waste more time. He struck her once and sent her crashing to the ground, leaving her stunned and unable to believe what had happened. The students gathered around and whispered in shock at how her beautiful face had been badly swollen. Ma Junhe rushed forward in anger and scolded Zichen for hitting a girl. Zichen replied calmly that on the path of evolution there was no difference between men and women and only strength mattered. Li Moyu immediately agreed with him and stepped forward, causing the students to murmur in excitement as they saw the final hope of the genius class step in, urging him to crush Zichen and avenge Shiwei. Li Moyu stepped forward and accused Lin Zichen of hiding his true strength by pretending to be only the second highest scorer while defeating the top scorers during the entrance test. He admitted he had been hiding his own power too. The teachers were shocked and realized Li Moyu was also a gene fusioner who had fused with the demonic-eyed great ape genes, something only possible with advanced physical strength. From his presence, they judged he had already reached the ordinary level 6th rank, and completing such a fusion marked him as a monstrous genius like his brother. Chuanwu felt his heart sink, thinking everything was lost and remembering the huge loss of credits and money. At the same time, someone watching from afar told Lu Gang that an advanced level demonic seed had been placed in the park outside the university, and ordered them to retrieve it and make Li Moyu consume it. Wan Shujia hesitated, warning that Li Moyu was the young master of the Li family in Kyoto, and forcing him to take the seed was very risky. The voice coldly replied that their organization was far stronger than Wang Shujia could imagine, and that even the Li family could be wiped out easily. Lu Gang nervously asked if they were really going to do it, and Wang Shujia admitted bitterly that they had no choice. Zichen analyzed the demonic-eyed great ape and understood that it was a mutant beast with extreme strength and defense, though its speed was weaker, and that most adults reached the advanced level, while rare ones reached an even higher rank. Li Moyu spoke with confidence, and claimed that even though Zichen and Ma Shiwei were top freshmen like him, the gap in their strength was vast and Zichen would not stay calm once the fight truly began. Zichen rushed forward and noted that Li Moyu had decent reaction speed since he dodged a controlled punch, so he increased his speed and landed a blow to Li Moyu's face, realizing that his defense was far stronger than others at the same level. Li Moyu complained about a sneak attack and declared that once focused, Zichen punches would not land easily. Zichen continued to press forward and struck him many times, but the students believed that although Zichen was faster, he could not deal real damage, while Li Moyu's strong defense gave him a huge advantage and the result seemed decided. Zichen calmly concluded that he had finished testing reaction speed and now needed to test pure strength. Li Moyu shouted that Zichen's speed surprised him, but his strength was too weak to cause harm and declared it was his turn to attack. He charged forward and threw a heavy punch, but instead of injuring Zichen, his own wrist cracked from the impact, and he screamed in pain as he realized his hand was broken. The students murmured in shock as they tried to understand what had happened and wondered if Lin Zichen had really won such a strange match. Zichen quickly judged that Li Moyu gained overwhelming strength from the demonic-eyed Great Ape genes, but his attack power had surpassed his own defense, causing his hand to shatter. He calmly pointed out that Li Moyu's right hand had suffered a severe fracture and called for medics to come up immediately. Vice Principal Yuan stepped in to examine him and realized his entire hand was broken, suspecting it was backlash from striking Zichen, which made her secretly question just how tough Zichen's body was. Zichen sensed her probing him with mental power and relied on his natural camouflage to hide his true strength. Vice Principal Yuan concluded that Zichen was only at the ordinary level 6th rank with unusually strong physical attributes, and told the other teachers she found nothing special. Zichen felt relieved and knew he had successfully fooled them. After treatment, Li Moyu was shocked to find his hand fully healed without any side effects. Zichen confirmed it was healed and immediately kicked him away, telling him to leave. Li Moyu shouted in anger that once his gene fusion improved, he would defeat Zichen in the future. The students mocked his arrogance and declared that Lin Zichen's victory belonged to the entire ordinary class. As more than a minute passed, the teacher officially announced Lin Zichen from Martial Arts Class 1 as this year's freshman king. Zichen calmly accepted the title and pulled Qinghan close, causing the crowd to whisper in surprise about his connection to her. Qinghan blushed and wondered if he was about to reveal their relationship. Zichen then declared confidently that he was taking all the spots from 2nd to 10th as well. The students from the genius class lost control and shouted angrily as they rushed to attack Lin Zichen, even calling Qinghan a traitor and trying to beat her down as well. Zichen stepped in and easily defeated all of them, stopping their attacks one by one. When Shiwei charged at Qinghan in rage, Zichen kicked her away and sent her flying, ending the fight completely. Zichen calmly judged that all opponents from the genius class had been wiped out and believed no one would dare object anymore. The announcer then declared that Qinghan had secured 2nd place in the entrance test. Zichen stated that the remaining rankings would be taken in turns, with others keeping the rank while he took the credits. Many students excitedly volunteered, eager to experience being in the top 10. Zichen quickly calculated that the top 10 rewards totaled 550 credits, and with the 9 credits given to ordinary class freshmen, he would gain 559 credits in total. Ma Jinhe angrily protested and accused Zichen of breaking university rules by acting like a hired fighter after already winning the freshman king title. Chuanwu calmly pointed out that there was no rule forbidding such behavior, while Ma Jinhe insisted it was exploiting a loophole. Vice President Yuan agreed it was a loophole but stated that changing the rules now would be unfair and could only be addressed next year. At the same time, a hidden group informed Lu Gang that the plan had changed and that Lin Zichen was now the target to be forced into consuming an advanced-level demonic seed. After the entrance test ended, Chuanwu happily praised Zichen and wondered how many surprises he was still hiding. Zichen reminded him of the promise, and Chuanwu fulfilled it by giving him 10 Qi blood pills and 300 credits as bonus rewards, satisfied because he had won a huge bet thanks to Zichen. Curious, Chuanwu asked about Zichen's true strength. Zichen calmly answered that he was at the ordinary level 6th rank, had completed the first round of skin tempering, strengthened part of his facial muscles, and was born with unusually hard facial bones. Chuanwu was shocked when he learned that Zichen had mastered flesh tempering and firmly believed that before graduation he would reach the advanced level while remaining a pure-blooded human. He strongly encouraged Zichen to stay on that path and believed he would achieve great things in the future. Zichen calmly reassured him that he would not change his choice. Later in his room, Zichen tested the Qi blood pill and found its effects weak for him, even less useful than intense physical training, so he decided to give it to Qinghan instead. When Qinghan took the pill, she felt warmth spreading through her body and noticed her qi and blood becoming much stronger, which amazed her. Zichen explained that the pill did not help him much and told her to take 1 per day and keep the rest. The next day in class, Zichen greeted Yan, who already knew about his ordinary level 6 rank in flesh tempering and praised his incredible talent. She believed his joining Tian'an Pavilion would greatly raise its reputation. Zichen agreed to work hard together but quietly realized that even senior experts had failed to understand parts of blood tempering, so he would need to study the original text himself, something he felt confident about with his special abilities. Yuyen then informed him that student union members were waiting outside to recruit him, but Ziqin showed no interest. When she mentioned the monthly credit allowance, he still remained indifferent. Later, Student Union President Zhou Xiahong personally approached Ziqin and formally invited him to join as a future presidential candidate, listing many benefits such as special meals, decision-making power, and regular credits. Ziqin agreed to join, but Zhou immediately added a condition, demanding that Ziqin abandon the pure-blooded human path and choose gene fusion instead. Zhou warned that without gene fusion, even the greatest talent would eventually be stuck at the ordinary level, pointing to senior figures as examples of that failure. Ziqin calmly asked if following the gene fusion path was compulsory for joining the student union, and when Zhou confirmed it was, he immediately refused and showed no interest, believing the benefits could not compare to those of Tian'an Pavilion. The surrounding students murmured in disbelief and mocked him for stubbornly insisting on the pure-blood human path, calling him arrogant and ignorant, and claiming he would regret his choice. Zhou dismissed him and decided to recruit other geniuses instead, stating that a genius without a future was worthless. Yuyen grew angry at the student union mindset and criticized them for thinking like old fossils. She then turned to Chuanwu and praised his generosity and dedication to supporting the pure-blood human path, believing his efforts would be remembered in history. Chuanwu felt helpless at her words and jokingly complained, then warned Ziqin that women were obstacles on the path of evolution and could drain his strength. He also informed Ziqin that the university could provide housing and internal jobs for the families of talented students, and asked if he wanted to bring his parents to live there. Ziqin agreed to talk to his parents about it during the weekend. Chuanwu then told him that his permission to accept university missions had been activated and urged him to start taking missions immediately to earn credits and grow stronger. Yuyen added that she often went off campus each week to complete missions and suggested Ziqin join her later to learn the process and gain experience. She also mentioned that after some time she would take on a mutant beast hunting mission and bring him along to broaden his horizons. Ziqin decided to rely on Sister Yen and check the university app for available missions. Most official tasks were simple errands with low rewards, and student-posted missions were mixed and unreliable. He chose to focus on off-campus missions for higher credits and found one that suited him. Yuyen offered to go with him, but he declined and saw that many seniors and one freshman, Ma Shiwei, had accepted the same mission. He suspected she had backing to attempt it at her level. Later, he sensed someone following him and realized it was an ordinary level 7th rank student. The student confronted him, accusing him of targeting Ma Shiwei and challenging him to fight. Ziqin quickly ended it with a single punch and returned home. Qinghan greeted him warmly, told him dinner was ready, and mentioned that the undead slug meat he ordered had arrived. He absorbed its life essence, advancing the undead slug codex to 10%, and explained to Qinghan that the meat spoiled after he absorbed it, which amazed her. They discussed bringing their families to settle near the university, and decided to go home that weekend. Qinghan later mentioned a peak ranking duel between a 9th-ranked mechanical student and an 8th-ranked gene fusion student, and Ziqin agreed to watch after dinner. At the gymnasium, instructors, students, and mecha deity group representatives were present. Qinghan noticed a famous cyborg prodigy, and Ziqin explained the group supported the college to expand influence. As the duel began, the mechanical fighter immediately attacked, firing a barrage of bullets at the opponent. The students watched in shock as the 8th-ranked student seemed completely suppressed, unable to fight back, and wondered if the mechanical student was switching to melee. Suddenly, the mechanical student punched him and threw him to the ground, and the announcer declared that the mechanical student had won. Elsewhere, a woman reported to the vice principal that Source Zone 36 had been unusually quiet for months, leaving it unclear whether the other side had abandoned the passage or was planning something bigger. The vice principal asked about Gong Shui in the origin land, and the woman replied that she had adapted extremely well and was growing rapidly, nearly reaching advanced level 2nd rank. The woman also noted Gong Shui's constitution seemed so special that she did not even appear to be an earthling. The vice principal warned her not to ask questions she shouldn't and ended the call to oversee a student coordination match. She thought about how mechanical students currently held the advantage over gene fusion students, with cyborgs having versatility and overall strength, but noted that no matter how powerful they were, they could not enter the origin land because all electronics would stop working there. She then shut down the screen, realizing even the strongest cyborgs would be reduced to scrap metal in that area. Zichen remembered going home with Chihan over the weekend to discuss moving their parents near the university, and both sets of parents had agreed. He then focused on completing the Catwoman mission. He studied the target, a 6th-rank ordinary-level opponent who was extremely fast and often appeared in Shanghai's red light districts to seduce and kill male targets. Knowing the area was large and the enemy elusive, Zichen decided to use a wide search with his sky eye and danger sense attributes to track her. People around Zichen murmured uneasily, feeling that his gaze was frightening and strange even though he looked handsome. When a muscular man angrily questioned him, Zichen kicked him aside and calmly moved on, releasing his biological pressure and confirming that nothing suspicious was in the area. He decided to check the next red light district and soon noticed Ma Shui accompanied by 2 senior students at the ordinary level 7th rank, guessing they were there to assist her with the Catwoman mission. Seeing Zichen, nearby girls quickly chose to stay far away. Ma Shui realized that Zichen had also accepted the mission and wanted to find Catwoman before him to ruin his efforts. One of her teammates, who had fused with Demon Hound genes, used his sharp sense of smell and quickly located Catwoman inside a bar across the street. Shui rushed over, determined to capture the target, and dragged her in front of Zichen to provoke him. The girl they identified appeared like an ordinary university student, but the boy confirmed her scent matched Catwoman belongings from the security bureau, proving her disguise. When they tried to capture her, the woman fled at incredible speed, forcing them into a chase. Although they briefly lost sight of her, the boy continued tracking her scent and eventually cornered her in a hiding place. As they moved in to finish the capture, the woman calmly revealed that she had no intention of escaping and explained that true hunters often pretend to be prey. At that moment, Shui felt the overwhelming biological pressure and realized in shock that Catwoman was actually at the ordinary level 9th rank and had been hiding her true strength all along. Shui immediately told everyone to run, realizing the mission was far beyond what they could handle. Catwoman mocked them and said escape was impossible, showing special interest in Zichen the moment he entered the bar. With no other choice, Shui released special fumes to dull Catwoman's senses and used the chance to flee with the others. After barely escaping, one girl complained that the mission information was completely wrong and said they nearly died, urging Shui to contact Dean Ma to fix the mission details at once. Shui agreed but suddenly remembered that Lin Zichen had accepted the same mission and feared he would die if he encountered Catwoman. Even though she found him annoying, she could not ignore that danger, so she decided to contact Shin Chi-han to warn him. Catwoman felt angry that her prey had slipped away but quickly regained interest when she noticed Zichen nearby. She saw him as perfect prey and believed his encounter with her was simply bad luck. Zichen rushed forward and calmly judged that Catwoman was only at the ordinary level 9th rank. Catwoman was shocked to find that he was faster than her. Zichen struck her head on and sent her flying, then noted that even after hitting her with half of his strength, she was barely injured. Catwoman realized that Zichen looked far too young for such terrifying strength, and noticed he had not even undergone gene fusion. She understood that if the fight continued, she might truly die, so she decided to retreat while she still could. Even when she used full speed, she found that Zichen was still chasing her closely. She struck him hard and slammed him to the ground, but Zichen sensed that even with her neck broken, she was still alive. He felt her biological pressure weakening and decided he had to finish her before she recovered. Just as she stood up again, her pressure suddenly surged, and he realized she had triggered a blood burst at the edge of death and was about to reach the advanced level. Catwoman demanded to know who he was and internally admitted that she had been forced to fully activate her Shadow Night Cat genes. Although it saved her life and increased her power, it permanently strengthened her beast instincts and made her vulnerable to gene backlash. Zichen calmly apologized and said he had mistaken her for someone else. Catwoman became even more fearful, unable to judge his strength or predict his actions. With no trump cards left and backlash looming, she decided that survival mattered more than anything and resolved to flee immediately. Before she could escape, Zichen struck decisively, and her biological pressure finally vanished, confirming that she was truly dead. After finishing the Catwoman mission, Zichen planned to take a photo of her and upload it to the university app to prove he completed it, then called the public security department to clean up. He began absorbing the Shadow Night Cat genes from her, noticing that the severe gene backlash had left an unusually high concentration of her genes, boosting his codex progress. Meanwhile, Shui called her father and said the mission had almost killed her because the university app had given the wrong information. She explained that Catwoman was actually at ordinary level 9th rank, not 6th rank as listed. Her father told her to explain everything so he could speak to the director in charge of the mission system. Shiwei also thought they should return to the university quickly to avoid any chance of revenge. Her companions were shocked and wondered how Lin Zichen, just a freshman, had managed to complete the mission against such a strong target. After the weekend, Zichen and Qinghan returned to the dormitory together. The Catwoman mission reward had arrived and was even higher than expected. Qinghan commented on how unreliable the university mission system was and was glad Zichen was strong enough to survive. Zichen decided to be more cautious with future missions and planned to bring Qinghan along to gain real combat experience and improve her strength. Qinghan was excited that she could finally go on missions together with Zichen. Zichen decided to order 45 kilograms of undead slug mutant meat to unlock the codex, thinking it would help with evolution and that Henin needed more nutrition because her body was weak. He asked if she wanted any mutant beast meat, and she suggested buying fierce great eagle meat instead. She decided to pay for it herself, using the credits Zichen had given her. When the food arrived, Zichen put the meat in the fridge and began absorbing it. He absorbed a large amount of life essence from the undead slug, fully unlocking its codex and gaining the rapid regeneration ability. He tested it by biting his hand, and the wound healed completely in seconds. This ability would allow him to recover fully as long as he had energy and was still alive. Later, someone arrived at the door, and Zichen found out it was Shiwei, apologizing for disturbing them so late. Zichen asked Shiwei what was wrong and she said she was curious about how he finished the Catwoman mission. He said it was not convenient to talk about, and she said she would not bother him then. Qinghan invited Shiwei in for tea and said the leaves were roasted by her mom, but Shiwei said she had something to take care of. Qinghan told Zichen that Shiwei was a good person and had worried about him when the mission intel was wrong. Zichen said they could invite her over sometimes since she lived downstairs. Later Chuanwu said he saw Ma Jinhe confront Director He about the mission system, and it turned into a fight because the mission target's wrong biological ranking almost got Shiwei killed. Yuyan said the Catwoman's actual level was 9th rank but the mission said 6th rank. Chuanwu and Yuyan asked Zichen how he completed the mission and if he had help or set a trap. Zichen said he did it alone with pure physical strength. They were shocked and asked if he was hiding his true strength. Zichen thought his friends were decent, and it would be helpful to be honest about his progress, so he told them his strength had reached ordinary level, 9th rank. Chuanwu said the first round of body tempering was fully completed and praised Zichen, saying his persistence had paid off and that the pure-blooded human path would rise with Zichen leading it. He believed that Zichen and Tianren Pavilion would one day be known across the world. He also thought about how he had spent years researching this path, losing his family and marriage without real success, and felt that meeting Zichen was a rare chance that could finally change everything. Zichen felt confused as he watched Chuanwu laugh and cry at the same time. Chuanwu then said Zichen's physical talent was terrifying and explained that if Zichen had origin energy, he would have suspected him to be an extraordinary being from Origin Land. He added that such beings existed but usually lived in Origin Land, not on Earth. Yuyan reacted in shock and complained that Chuanwu had never told her about this before. Zichen asked what origin energy was, and Chuanwu explained it was a special energy unique to Origin Land beings, similar to qi and blood or mental power, though he could not explain it clearly. He said he had only met 2 extraordinary beings in his life. Yuyan doubted him and said his level was too low to enter Origin Land. Zichen then learned there was a level requirement to enter, and Chuanwu confirmed that only advanced level cultivators were allowed, while weaker ones were just cannon fodder. He also revealed that he met those extraordinary beings on Earth, including a female disciple his ex-wife had taken in years ago. Zichen realized that Luo Qianxue, Hanin's senior sister, was an extraordinary being. Chuanwu said the other one he met was in a mysterious ancient ruin where he had found the blood tempering technique, and warned them that everything he told them was top secret. Yuyan promised not to tell anyone and Chuanwu said he trusted them. He advised Zichen to keep his strength hidden to avoid attracting the heretic cults and suggested using Yuyan's account to accept missions that matched his true strength. Yuyan said she was also at ordinary level 9th rank, so Zichen could fight freely under her name. Zichen asked Chuanwu about the Origin Land and Chuanwu said he knew very little because everything was classified. He explained that most beings there were enemies trying to invade Earth for unknown reasons, and that knowing more would not help until Zichen reached advanced level. Chuanwu then left for dinner but told them to message him if needed. Yuyan commented on how hard he was working to get funding and asked Zichen how he hid his biological level and progress. Zichen said it was something he could not talk about and thought the system was his biggest advantage. Yuyan tried to persuade him by offering a secret in exchange, but he refused. She then suggested a friendly spar since they were at the same level, and Zichen agreed, thinking it would help him measure his strength and improve his combat skills. Yuyan said her body tempering had reached the second round of skin, flesh, and bone and that she had completed about 20%, then challenged him to fight with everything he had. Yuyan asked Zichen if he was ready and told him to attack first while she defended. Zichen rushed forward and kicked her. She was shocked by his power, realizing that even with only the first round of body tempering, he could injure her abdomen, and thought he might soon surpass her. She scolded him for not aiming for vital points, and told him that in real combat there was no fairness. Zichen nodded and she told him to begin the real fight and try to last at least 5 minutes. They exchanged blows, and Yuyan was surprised that he could keep up with her even at her full strength. Zichen decided to pretend to lose and fell to the ground when she punched him. Yuyan praised him for his incredible future and said he had forced her to use 90% of her strength just to barely win. She told him he could start attempting to open his apertures now and offered to teach him the latest method she had researched. Zichen agreed to try. She explained that the human body had 366 acupoints, and the easiest ones to open were the 4 around the heart. She instructed him to channel chi and blood to strike them at 10 impacts per second without injuring the heart. Zichen tried but could not break them open. Yuyan told him not to rush, and said his body might not be strong enough yet, or her method might still be wrong. In the Liu family ancestral residence basement, Chuanwu told the pavilion master that he had found a peerless genius with the potential to open apertures. He said the genius could break through the ordinary level and evolve into advanced, rare, or even epic level being, and that the pavilion master could rely on him for chi and blood to sustain her life. He worried that the pavilion master was growing weaker every day and hoped Zichen could reach advanced level before she fell. Later, Zichen came back with groceries and started cooking. Chi-Han told him that her master wanted her to undergo gene fusion earlier than planned. Zichen realized her master suggested fusing with the azure jellyfish's genes, a low-level mutant beast with strong mental power. Chi-Han said her master wanted her to fuse with the jellyfish king's genes, which were advanced level, and she worried her body might not handle it. Zichen reassured her that jellyfish-type mutant genes were highly compatible with humans and that her 21% fusion compatibility made it manageable, so she would not mutate. She asked if there would be any side effects and Zichen said she might lose reproductive ability and show some external mutant beast traits, but she had already frozen her eggs and the appearance changes could be hidden. He added that many mutant traits even improved looks. She felt relieved and started wondering what traits she might gain and whether she would become prettier. She showed him a video of the azure jellyfish taken by her master and admired its beauty. Zichen said it was beautiful but not as beautiful as her. She teased him for being smooth and talked about how her master had dived 10,000 meters into the deep sea with her bare body. Zichen said that meant her master was at least at the rare level. Chi-Han admired that strength and wondered if she could reach that level one day. Zichen encouraged her and said her compatibility was high enough to aim even for epic level. She said evolution depended on many factors like constitution and resources. Zichen told her she was naturally suited to water and would surpass her master one day, and promised to work hard to earn money to support her. She joked about pampering her sugar daddy and asked which color he liked. Zichen said he liked both, and she laughed and said she would wear one on each leg. He found it strange but said it was fine. Zichen thought about skipping the Pure Human Research Institute and training at home by himself while Hanan went to class. He checked the news and saw that mysterious plants had appeared in multiple areas of Shanghai City. They were strange and botanists were studying them, and the public was warned not to approach them. He realized the plants looked like the ones in the background of Hanan's senior sister's photo, and wondered if they were from the origin land or related to the divine plant cult. He felt he needed to increase his strength quickly because the second round of body tempering was consuming his chi and blood too fast. He looked for pills to restore chi and blood and decided to buy 100 blood restoration pills. He also considered unlocking the Myriad Poison Mongoose Codex to gain poison resistance, buying half a kilogram to start progress. Since he could not break through the apertures yet, he kept working on the second round of skin tempering for over 2 hours. Finally, exhausted, he realized his chi and blood were being consumed too fast and stopped to rest and eat to recover energy. Zichen opened the door and a delivery girl arrived with 2 packages. When they nearly fell, he caught them and decided to test the blood restoration pill. He felt his head clear and his arms and legs strong again. He thought the pill was very effective and would help him recover chi and blood faster, making body tempering more efficient. Later Chi-han returned home and brought someone with her. Chushin greeted Zichin and they exchanged surprised hellos. She commented on how lucky he and Chi-han were to have such a nice apartment, since she had to share a dorm room. Zichin offered her a room at the martial arts college, but she said she liked living with her roommate. She then complained about how unfairly the seniors treated ordinary students, taking their things without permission, and how the student union did nothing to help, saying that only the strongest survived. Zichin told Chushin that if any senior went too far with her, she should tell him and he would deal with it. Chi-han agreed and said the seniors were despicable and that they would handle it together if things got worse. Chushin thanked them, but suddenly felt shaking and thought an earthquake was happening. Zichin felt uneasy but noticed his danger sense was not reacting strongly. Elsewhere, a man reported to a divine envoy and said he wanted to reach the advanced level and asked for resources. The envoy rewarded him with an enchanting demon flower and warned him to use it carefully. The man mentioned a terrifying freshman at Shanghai University and said he had arranged for someone to make him consume an advanced level demonic seed to bring him into the cult. The envoy said true geniuses were in the origin land. The man then reported that a nexus point had been found and asked the envoy to activate the connection. The envoy agreed to go, and the man threatened his subordinate that if Lin Zichin was not made to consume the demonic seed within 3 days, he would be replaced. Chi-han told Zichin she was going to class. Suddenly Lu Gang and Wang Shujia asked for his help because a third-year senior had been bullying them. They said the senior was stronger and asked Zichin to deal with him. They offered spirit fruits from their family as payment and asked him to help just this once. Zichin asked how strong the senior was, and Wang Shujia said he was at ordinary level 6th rank. Zichin agreed and told them to meet him at the Pure Human Research Institute entrance at 5:30 that afternoon. Lu Gang promised they would help Zichin any time in the future and left. Chi-han told Zichin to open the bag and see the spirit fruits. Zichin told her to take one and eat it on the way, and she asked him to pick a smaller one so she could finish it. He agreed and chose a small one for her. Chi-han said the spirit fruit looked gross and asked if it had gone bad or had worms. Zichin realized his danger sense had triggered and saw that the fruits were actually demonic tree goo seeds. He told Lu Gang and Wang Shujia not to leave and asked Chi-han to contact her master. The vice principal arrived and Zichin explained that the two had given him a bag of spirit fruits that looked suspicious and might be related to the divine plant cult. The vice principal said the seeds came from a mutant tree and anyone who consumed them would be enslaved by the tree, a common method of the cult. Zichin thought that the two had already been under the cult's control. Lu Gang and Wang Shujia admitted they had been forced. The vice principal said she would take them for investigation and warned that the cults infiltrated everywhere, and they could not trust anyone completely. Chi-han was amazed by her master's mental power and ability to fly. She scolded Lu Gang and Wang Shujia for trying to harm Zichin, and he said they would have to be more careful in the future. The next day, Zichin learned that Lu Gang and Wang Shujia were confirmed members of the divine plant cult. They had been forced to consume demonic seeds during the practical assessment of the college entrance exam and were expelled from the university while facing criminal charges, ruining their futures. Henin's parents and Zichin's family moved near the university to settle down. With the help of blood restoration pills, Zichin completed his second round of skin tempering and progressed 40% in the second round of flesh tempering. The day of Henin's gene fusion finally arrived. Chi-han said she was nervous and brought Zichin with her. The vice principal instructed her to drink water to help the fusion because the azure jellyfish was a water attribute mutant beast. When she could not drink more, the vice principal told her to lie down and injected the jellyfish king's genes into her heart while numbing her pain receptors, warning that she would still feel intense pain once fusion began. Chi-han nodded. Zichin thought the gene fusion process usually required precise monitoring, but the vice principal's mental power made it unnecessary. After the injection, Chi-han said she did not feel any pain, and the vice principal was surprised. Zichin asked if something went wrong, and the vice principal realized that Henin's gene fusion had failed. The vice principal explained that Chi-han's gene fusion with the azure jellyfish king's genes had failed, but it was not a complete failure. Usually, if no rejection occurs after injection, the host genes begin fusing with the mutant genes on their own. In Chi-han's case, the jellyfish king's genes caused no rejection but also failed to fuse because her own genes had a kind of self-awareness that restrained the invading genes and absorbed some as nutrients. Chi-han noticed her hair changing color, a sign of the Jellyfish King's gene expression, and felt something extra inside her body that she could sense and control. Zichen asked if she felt anything strange, and Qinghan confirmed she could sense and control the new presence. The vice principal realized this might be a form of gene fusion and told Qinghan to try using her mental power to control the genes and put them into a dormant state. Qinghan agreed to try. The vice principal told Qinghan to try expressing the genes again and thought it was impressive how quickly she mastered controlling them compared to other geniuses. Zichen asked about her condition, and the vice principal said there was bad news and good news. Qinghan chose to hear the bad news first. The vice principal explained that she might never become a gene fusioner, but the good news was that she was more powerful than any gene fusioner. Her genes could control injected mutant beast genes, letting her use their abilities without fusing with them, and she would remain a pure-blooded human. She had a very high chance of becoming the first pure-blooded human to reach the advanced level. Qinghan was amazed and asked if she could really do it. The vice principal confirmed it and said her growth still relied on mutant beast genes, so she would appear as a gene fusioner to others, but the secret had to be kept. She told Qinghan to come to her office every night at 8 to research her gene enslavement ability together. Half a month later, Qinghan happily told Zichen that she had learned to control water with her mental power. Zichen praised her talent, feeling amazed at how smoothly she used the ability so quickly. Qinghan then shared something even more shocking, explaining that she could remotely affect other people's qi and blood, with effects ranging from disruption to instant death. Zichen calmly reasoned that if she could control others, she should also be able to control her own qi and blood to temper her body. Qinghan hesitated at first because her master believed her foundation was too weak, but Zichen encouraged her, saying that both of them were special and not bound by common rules. Encouraged by his words, Qinghan decided to try with full confidence. In the following days, Zichen patiently taught Qinghan how to guide her own qi and blood and strengthen her body. To both of their surprise, she succeeded and mastered the blood tempering technique. Zichen smiled as he realized that she had broken common sense, cultivating a technique far beyond her current biological rank. Qinghan proudly pointed out that while she enslaved mutant beast genes and he absorbed mutant beast meat, they could both walk the pure-blooded human path, making them an unmatched pair of prodigies. Zichen agreed and silently noted that after less than half a month of cultivation, Qinghan completed her first skin tempering and advanced to the 3rd rank. He then decided it was time to take her into real combat to harden her mindset and begin their mission.